things that are interesting about him.
In Avatar: The Last Airbender, it is done so well. But here's the thing. It grows to be more in depth. The spirit world becomes a thing, and it grows even more in depth after that. More layers get added on more layers, right? Not everybody in the Earth Kingdom is good. Not everybody in the Water Tribes. They're not all underpowered, right? Because the Northern Water Tribe is so strong. And not everybody in the Fire Nation is evil. The layers continue to be added the longer the story goes on. In your campaign, do that. Most people have a hard time starting a campaign because they don't know where to start. They think they need 7 kingdoms, hundreds of houses, thousands of NPCs. No! Stop! You don't need that. What you need is one town, one place, 4 or 5 NPCs, and an inciting incident.
What a joke. I worked my ass off to get where I am. And you take these shortcuts and you think suddenly you're my peer? You do what I do because you're funny and you can make people laugh? I committed my life to this.
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead. Dead like if I can guarantee Henry would be okay, I'd hope you'd get an illness and then get hit by a car and die.
In this video, we're going to talk about secondary objectives, a way to make your combat encounters spicy, delicious, fantastic. Secondary objectives enhance combat in D&D to an exponential degree. Hi there, everybody, and welcome back to Roll with Advantage. Very excited to dive into the last session of Downtime for the Adventures of the Salamander Coast. Let's roll the intro and dive in. Yeah, this might be.
For what I'm fucking doing, but I'm trying every fucking day.
I would have never even met you.
Sure, it's a very lengthy repertoire. But
a powerful warrior, which, I definitely agree with you on, but
And we are back. As is tradition here on Roll with Advantage, I don't do the summary. Somebody else does the summary. One of the players, specifically this week on summary, is somebody that I definitely know who. So if they would be willing to step forward now and begin.
Oh God, what an introduction! Thank you so much, Dungeon Master.
You're welcome.
So I'm just gonna kind of fly through this real quick because I feel like this is a summary that we can get by pretty quickly with. So last we left off with our heroes, they were still in Akai. They wrapped up things there, had conversations with the investors, figured out who was guilty, who was not guilty, and punishments that would ensue, before they went to the ascension of Empress Suna. I almost said Suen, which was not correct. But they went to that with all of the rituals and fancy schmancy stuff with that. Had a very emotional goodbye with her before leaving back to go to the Old Kingdom, where they kind of settled into their downtime that had unexpectedly fallen onto all of them. Heroes going their separate ways, Carasilla traveling to meet the Creator, and then down to the Underdark to find some more Kuatoa, and had a lot of them pledge their allegiance to her. Also, while that was going on, Cecily and Tyr traveled to Jormungandr, and for Cecily to learn a little bit more about her home, she went to several rituals, talked to several people, all that kind of stuff. At the same time, Suni had gone to travel with Sultana to speak to, or to get the remains from the Platinum Dragon from the Hidden Flame, to speak with his original self, learning about kind of the nature of the Mother of Mountains and that sort of stuff. Back in the Old Kingdom, we see Bianca, who kind of working her way through, or navigating her new found royalty, I suppose, and authority. Kind of deciding how to run the country that she is now, or kingdom, I guess is the right word, that she has kind of found her way back into. And lastly, we have Ajax, who goes and meets with some old friends before training with... God, what's her name? I can't think of it. Alec, thank you. Training with Alec for a while. And Poe was there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And they trained on hardening the mind and spirit and body and all of those things. And I think that's really about it.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. So we will go ahead and dive in from there. And we're going to go ahead and start with Carasilla, actually, as there were two things that we had to take care of first before going too much further. And that, Carasilla, is the meeting you had with all of the other members of the Hidden Flame. So you were given very specific instructions about when this would be, and at a later date, you were instructed on how to in terms of how to enter that sacred space. Pretty much how it works, Carasilla, is that in order for the meeting hall of the Hidden Flame to be accessible, all of the members, all of the current active members who have not, divine reckoning themselves, who have attuned the flame of Nibiru Tarman, they need to all will themselves to go into that meeting hall. And if they do that, then the meeting hall will open and they can meet. With enough heads up, with enough forewarning, you step forward towards your brazier in your mansion, and you can see a secondary doorway opens as all members of the Hidden Flame are present and willing to have this meeting to discuss the information that you presented. As you step through the doorway, you can see you enter a room that has a large brazier in the center with this bright golden white flame burning. The brazier itself is probably about 20 feet in diameter, and the flame lets off no heat. And there's no crackling. It is just this almost like vibrating noise, this like pure divine flame. And you can see about 15 people in here. By the time the meeting has been called, as far as Carasilla knew, the Hidden Flame wasn't a large organization. In fact, they sort of thrived on secrecy and an ability to keep their knowledge sacred and close to the chest. But even this, 16 people total, 15 plus you, that seems really small, but these are all active members who have not yet divine reckoninged. So as you step forward, the only face that you recognize in this room is Logain, member of the Silent Shield who initially recruited you. There are other people from various nations that stand in this room. However, all of them have some manner of denoting their status within the Hidden Flame. Each one of them holds some memento on their person of service to the children of the flame. Some choose to still wear their cloaks, at least in this sacred meeting space. Others choose to wear gauntlets or pieces of armor, pins, the like. And you, Carasilla, still have your gauntlet on, correct?
She does, yeah.
Yeah. So you can see everybody here still has something to denote their service to the children before eventually becoming a member of the Hidden Flame. You can see that as all of them enter and they all begin to look around, you can see a lot of the eyes begin to fall on you, Carasilla, as you and your companions are definitely the most well-known individuals. And you are the only member of the Hidden Flame wearing a Gleeman's cloak. You can see that as they look to you, Loghain smiles, and he's going to make his way over to you and say,
very happy that you were available to come after everything that transpired. I heard about in Akai, and especially everything.
And he kind of looks back to the other members of the Hidden Flame. One moment, please.
I just want you to know that other individuals that I am familiar with, they are very skeptical of what you wrote. So what I think may be best is to lead with a strong foot as to what you saw, and hopefully change their mind.
Of course. Easy feat, right? But she's also kind of looking to the rest of the group. I'm honestly a little surprised there's not more faces here.
You can see there's one tall, very skinny elven man, angular face. You can see age is very clear. At one point in time, long locks of golden, like pin straight hair. Now this like shimmering silver shade. Says,
Yes, there were many more of us. But sadly, many within the past 6 months have perished. The Shadow has tried to claim many of them. Each one I feel. The divine reckoning, I can feel it from them. There have been some 50 that have immolated themselves in this way.
Right. Well, I'm thankful to everyone that is still here then.
you can see they all kind of look to each other and nod solemnly. A few whisper prayers too. You can see they start to whisper prayers, and then some of them catch themselves as they're unsure about how to proceed with honoring those that passed, if honoring the Creator isn't necessarily the best course of action. But some still do continue with their prayers.
I mean, is the expectation that she's, like, the one to start the meeting, or?
Yeah, they all kind of look to each other and then look to you, as you are the, you were the catalyst to all this.
Yeah, good, cool. Yeah, I mean, she'll kind of step more towards the group, so she's not, like, in the weirder side with Loghain. I have to admit, this wasn't exactly the first meeting I'd like to have had with most faces here. But what I wrote in that letter is true. And I think In some way, all of us must know it at this point. Must feel it in some way. I don't know what that means for how we will continue as a group and also as a world in a whole, but we still need to, right? And so please, if anyone has any questions, I'd be more than willing to answer, but Creator is dead. It was all some kind of lie. That's the truth.
You can see there's a wave of silence and contemplation over most of the individuals here. But there's one woman in particular. You can see she has very dark skin, and her hair, while it is this like deep ebony color, you can see she wears it in the style of a noblewoman of Iverion, but obviously from her look and the way she chooses to wear her clothing, it's more traditional of Odero. And she speaks and says,
I, for one, would love more answers to the questions I have. You say that you and your companions killed the Creator? Is that the gist of it?
The gist, indeed. I also want to make it very clear that it was hardly something I think any of us sought to do. It was all something pulled out from under us as well. Most of us had spoken with, well, Emerald, the same thing as the Creator, I suppose. None of us...
There's a few whispers at that.
Happened that day. I don't think any of us wanted what happened on that day. But that's the reality we're in.
I'm sorry, the elven man, the older elven man, speaks up once more. You said Emerald?
Yes.
Is the
So was
Creator?
Emerald.
Was.
Yes. At least that version of him. There's, well, as far as I understand, has been two versions of him. The one that, as I understand, is currently performing some form of ritual and is uncontactable, and the one that we fought. Both of them are one and the same, really. The Emerald we killed, the originator, it seems.
Very interesting. I had assumed that he was one of the ones who had been reckoned. But I suppose in whatever ritual he may be in, unless it was the Creator. But if that was the case, then the Forsaken surely would have known more of our plans. I suppose whatever ritual has separated him from the light.
Interesting. He recedes back into thought. You can see the human, says,
And do you not think that perhaps, if that was the Creator, that it was some final test? To test your faith in him and his abilities? But instead you fought against him. You slayed the one who gave us the gift of light. If the world...
I mean, it very well could have been. Could have been all some kind of big test, some big speech to really test our commitments. But I assure you, he would have tested that to our death. And what does that get us? The way he spoke. The way he talked. You did not hear those words. I did. I don't think any of them were lies, trying to test us. Each of them were true. Each of them reflected the spite, hatred he had for everything, it seems. If that's a test, it's absolutely fucked.
You can see the human woman. She says nothing more at that.
And I do understand any hesitations to believing it. I understand that many here are far more devout. Many here have spent far longer than I in dedication and working towards what the Creator's goals, what we thought they were. But we have to believe in each other now. That's all I'm asking you. Believe what I'm saying. Maybe giving up on the Creator, but still holding to what we thought the ideals were. Still to helping people. And preserving, perhaps not his light, but the light that we have nonetheless. I still think that is something we can hold on to. Hard as it may be to hear that the Creator wasn't who we thought.
You can see many of them avert their eyes from you. And Loghain, kind of looks to you and then looks out to them and says, I agree with her, and I stand by what she says. It's up to us. If the Creator didn't believe in us, then we, as the people who are closest to that flame, it's our responsibility then to have faith in the people that he wouldn't. Carasilla, if we were to help, if we were to do anything, what would you have us do? You know the people. You know what they may need. I think so many of us have gotten caught up in our wars against the shadow that we forgot about why we're fighting. What should we do? Where should we go? Who should we help?
In all honesty, I don't know that there is a clear answer to that. We don't know exactly what is coming. We don't know what's going to happen. We know that we may only have a few more months until, well, who knows what. It is certainly far from over, but I think the first thing is to not be so hidden. Valuable, yes, sure. Keeping information, secrets, all of that. But if Emerald is the Creator and he has been able to fully access most things within the Hidden Flame, then I don't know how sacred or secret any of that information is anymore. And so I think the best thing we can do is, rather than try and safeguard it, is to actually bring it to where it could be useful to people. I mean, most of what we have done has been within Salamander Coast. And I know we have allies in Ivarion, but the world is much bigger than that. Other planes as well. They're all part of this reality. I think the best thing we can do is help disperse that. Help try and at least nurture and guide whatever's left.
You can see the Elven man says,
I agree with your sentiment, Carasilla. While you are very young, there is a great depth of wisdom within you. I propose that in these places that do not have the same resources as those lucky nations of Aridane, we traverse to the western side of the world. We do what we can to protect them, since individuals like Carasilla, the Wanderers and the Forerunners to the south, and even the Wardens in Afera and the Gemstone, they do not have individuals like them. I say that we, us 14, Logain, your alliances lead you elsewhere with the Silent Shields. But us 14, we go to Adero, Cartasia, to the three kingdoms of the north of Calderas, and we do what we can to keep them safe. And you can see many of the people sort of... They think for a moment, and Carasilla, whenever you have proposed ridiculous ideas before, there's typically a lot of pushback, where people are more willing to disagree and argue, but in this instance, these are logical people. And with what you've presented and with what they felt, coming to terms with it, not in that denial phase anymore, you can see all of the rest of them. In various time, they nod, they agree. They agree to use their resources to help protect those places, to do their best to keep those people safe, to spread that light there. And you can see that even, the woman who had been fighting back as much, you can see there is a bit of a relief in her eyes as the Western world will receive some type of protection, even if it's not much. Even if it's not the great heroes of the age, it's at least something. There's talk of strategy and about where specifically they'll go and how they'll divide and what resources they'll use. But you can see they plan, they prepare. And as those 14 others begin to strategize about how to defend that western continent to the best of their ability, Logain comes to your side once more and says, "You're confident that it was actually the Creator, that it wasn't just some trick of the Dark One?"
I am.
Then I suppose there's nothing else to do but to try and be the light that I guess he never was. I did want to say, Carasilla, I know with everything going on in these coming weeks, months, and year, if there's ever a moment where you need to call upon the Silent Shields, just reach out to me. Wherever you need us to go. I can't promise we'll have the resources always, but I'm sure at least once we can take that time to try and help in whatever way we can.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Sure, all of us are going to have our hands full, though.
Indeed. You can see he just looks to the individual's planning. And unless you have any other specific things you'd like to do, Carasilla, they will occasionally ask you for advice about things that you've seen Forsaken that you've gone up against, or information you may know about them, just in case they do arrive in Odero.
But if you don't have anything else, the meeting lasts for about another 3 to 4 hours, and the 14 of them, they head straight to Odero. They connect with the members of the College of Hearthcrest that are there in Odero to help strengthen them and prepare them as good as they can be for whatever may come in the next year. Oh yeah, oh, shit, I didn't move you to the freaking thing. Crazy.
Well, it's funny.
Well, there it is.
Oh. But I mean, she didn't have anything else, I guess.
Okay. Sounds good to me. So with that, we will go to the other thing that we were unable to do last week, which was also near the Vault of Souls. Suni, you wanted to attempt to reach out to Suni the Forsaken. All right. So near the Vault of Souls, you're able to manifest that connection to this very deep, dark inner part of yourself, and can attempt to reach out and speak with them.
I do so.
Okay. Alrighty. As Suni is reaching out, what's going through his mind as he's doing it?
I think first he would like think back to when he got his shit cracked by Hrothgar, and had that kind of like Zuko level mental spiral, and like pictured Suni the Forsaken like beckoning him down like the wrong path, all those weeks ago, I guess, months, I don't know how long it's been.
By this point,
happened.
Like a year and a half since then.
A year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay. So he thinks back to that and like just like that, and then to like the images of him. He's just like mentally preparing himself for like the worst fucking possible piece of garbage that it could be, and like reinforcing all of these things. I think he's going in with a little bit of bias against this. I mean, for obvious reasons. But yeah.
Yeah, so that is what's coursing through your mind as you're going to do it. And before you even see another person, another version of yourself, as you just sort of float aimlessly through this black void, you hear, "That's the thing. You don't get it. You didn't live in the time that I did. And, you know, I get it. You wouldn't understand. You didn't live through what I did. But honestly, Suni, I think if you did, you probably would have done the exact same. And Suni, as you begin to turn and look, eventually in the distance, maybe 15, 20 feet from where you are, you can see a dragonborn. Same build as you, same scale, color. But you can see that part of their face is rotted. Maggots crawl around it, scales droop, like literally pulling the skin off from the weight of the scales. And you can see part of the skull on the side of the head caved in from where Desmond O'Malley's weapon made impact, delivering that final blow.
As he turns around, and he'll take like a very good long look at him, he'll say, you know, I was terrified to do this because I'm worried you're right. I wanted to come in hating you as much as I could to try to distance myself from what I could have been.
But you can't distance
We're not
yourself.
that different.
Exactly. Do you know how close you were to going down the same path I went?
Enlighten me.
Had you not got arrested in water's wake and been sucked into this life that you find yourself in now, you would have ended up in the exact same place. Except in your situation, it would have been because of greed. Suni, the wealth monger. Suni, the thief.
It was never about money.
It's never about the thing it is when somebody claims it, right? When I went down my path,
greed for you.
When I went down my path, Suni, it was to protect Sultana. Initially, at least. I could feel her weakening in that cycle. I didn't remember who she was, but that heartbeat was so slow, and as I learned more, as I read more, as I enlightened myself about the cruel fate that the Mother of Mountains, that Bahamut, that Tiamat, that these gods, thank the Creator, they're dead now. The cruel fate they put us into. Some might think it a miracle, a gift to be able to fall in love all over again. But how cruel is it that it's not love? Not only love, but hate as well. I could feel her grow weak. I could feel that if good triumphed, that if she fell down that path again in the next life, there would be no redemption for her. So I made a sacrifice. A sacrifice that I can see has worked out very well for you.
Are you saying that if it wasn't for what you or I or we or whatever did, that Sultana would have completely went to the dark? Is that what you're getting at?
Do I know for certain? No. It would be naive of me to claim such. I don't have the powers of foresight. What I do have is what I felt. That light within her, I could feel it dwindle and die. All goodness had been sapped away from her. I kept it all for myself. All of those reincarnations, Suni selfishly kept the light. It was Sultana who was forced to carry the burden of the shadow. So for once in my life, I threw it aside. I carried the burden. And what do they call me? The Mother of Mountains. What's written on my tombstone, Suni? You know it.
Forsaken.
Bingo.
I don't know what it was that I expected. Did you revel in it after it started?
I wish, Suni, I could have taken half measures. I wish I could have been meek about the acts that I had to commit, but I couldn't. I didn't have a choice. I had to embrace it. I had to. And you know what? Once I broke down that wall, the ironclad fortress I built of solitude and good and righteousness, I liked being bitten. I liked what I did.
I think you left some of that over for me.
And I think that was a good thing. We didn't need another Suni the Stalwart.
I can't, even looking at you now, even hearing what you're saying, I can't fathom any reason for any person to do what you did, what I did. Sorry, my cat just climbed up on my keyboard. Stop it. In the last moments of your life, you still were making choices, and whether or not it was for Sultana, you know what? If there's one thing that I've learned, actually, with the death of the Mother of Mountains and the death of all of the gods, is that none of this shit had to be any way. And I really felt that way at first, and then I really felt the opposite when I realized who I was. But it can't be alone. We contain multitudes. And you still could have found a way. You could have chosen not to slaughter innocent children. With no remorse. How could you do that?
How, Suni? Are you supposed to rebuild a house on rotten foundation? The foundation of this life, of this existence, is rotted to the core. You say, you think, that no one is forced into anything, that with the death of the gods you're free to do whatever you want, that you have choices, but you don't. You provoked the Creator. The Creator wanted to destroy all of this. I saw it through your eyes. You all overcame him. You defeated him. And what then? This massive force of evil and destruction destroyed. Gone. Forever. And in turn, divinity, the gods, then corrupted, consumed from this plane. Good and evil, gone, vanished. It's balanced, Suni. it all rots away. Just like me and Sultana. There's always balance. The universe always corrects it.
Did you learn nothing from the Mother of Mountains when you were alive? I knew I must have been a fool to do whatever the fuck you ended up doing, but nature has a way of balancing itself. Natural checks, balances, a forest fire to clear away the rotten, dried up, unneeded. I'm not claiming that we have free reign to do whatever we want. But to think that the balance of the world is the issue, and to not still stand up and make the right choice, I'm wrong for standing up to the evil, even if it's inevitable, when you're not, for actively, effortlessly adding to it yourself in such a vile, sickening way. I pity you.
I don't claim to be free of sin, of burden, of wrongdoing. I know what I did was evil, wrong, twisted, and maligned. But if I didn't do what I did, you would be alone.
There's always another way.
Yes, well, I hope.
The gods can die in front of your eyes, and you can see that happening, you say. And you can see the change. Whether or not it's predetermined doesn't even matter. The illusion of freedom, to be able to stand up and make a choice, whether or not it matters. I cast away the bond that Sultana and I shared in a way that freed us, not contained us to the next one. We threw the rings out. We said, like you said, we said fuck the gods and we're gonna do what we want, but all I'm saying is, if you truly cared, if you really cared, that wouldn't have been the thing you slipped into. Now, I guess I'm here and maybe you're right. Maybe it would have all went to shit. Maybe I'd be alone. Maybe I'd be fighting on the other side. And if that's true, then I suppose I should thank you, but I can't. Like I said, I pity you. And I'm sorry for the life you led. You didn't deserve that. But neither did any of those children, or any of those lives.
And I, Suni, I can't help but feel envious of you. You live the life I wanted. You and Sultana get to naysay fate. You get to be the hero. And sure, you can say I didn't need to do what I did, but there was only one way that I knew I could change fate. And so I didn't take a risk. I did what I knew would guarantee our salvation. Pity me all you like. I do not regret what I did.
And you know what? That's why I pity you. It's not about salvation. It's not about you and I or the others. It's not even about Sultana. It's about the moving world around us. Ever changing, ever balancing itself in new ways. It's about the tree rooted in the ground, feeling the wind, and the river that cuts through the mountain into the sea. And if I have salvation, you're welcome to share in it with me. You and I are one and the same.
The best way for you to reward or to give me some semblance of peace is to leave me be.
Is there anything you'd like to say to her?
I wish it would have been her. That ended my life. I feel for all I did not deserve. I did not deserve Desmond O'Malley.
I don't know that anyone does. I'm sorry that in life you had to have a partner like him instead of one like her. And Suni, I want you to have peace. I free you of your burdens. They're mine and I've purged them already. And I'm gonna make it right. Maybe I am naive to be angry or spiteful of you. I'll leave you be. Have your peace. Know it well.
You can see he nods.
And Suni will give him, or he will place hands on his shoulders, and then like touch his cheek and exposed just a little bit, and then we'll give him, as much as it pains him to have to do this, we'll give him a small and quick embrace, and let him go, and then let this visage go.
Okay. Suni, as you do embrace for all of his disagreement and anger, as you let go, what you see almost is this balefire-like illumination to his form. You're not sure if he's finally let go or if forgiveness of yourself and your past deeds or something else entirely, but that blockage, that part of you twisted, maligned, seems to let go, allowing you to move on once and for all.
Suni will let out a very long, deep breath. And he will also, when he gets back, if Sultana's around him, will tell Sultana to roleplay that. But I will honor what he asked me to tell her.
Yeah. You can see it does sadden her. She does remember that moment. But what she does say to you in that moment before we move on is just that.
There's one thing that I'm relieved of, though. For one, the grace you gave him. And for two, that it will never come to that between the two of us ever again.
She'll kind of clap your cheek, the same side on Sunni the Forsaken that was sort of brought it away. And she'll give you a dragonborn kiss, which is just like a little nose nuzzle, you know?
Oh, cute. Get a room.
All right. Okay, cool. So now we move on to the 3rd of Frostwind, the year 1909. As Cecily, word
shit.
has finally come from Odin, from Thrud, and Thor. As Odin has finally been informed of Tyr's return and your desire to meet. From Thrud's own words and the messages that the two of you would share, Odin was at first very angry. He sort of spiraled for a bit, but then after about a week, he calmed. And Thrud and Thor are both on your side. And they are going to serve as peacekeepers, knowing that you, Tyr, Thor, and Thrud would at least be able to contain Odin should something happen. The 4 of your powers combined, you can take him. So, with that, before you leave, as you dress and prepare yourself, before you leave, Tyr does come to you, and he sort of looks you up and down and says,
It's a big day. Are you ready?
I'm not going to be any more ready. I've been thinking about this for almost 2 years now, so I really just have a couple questions for him. I can let everybody else do most of the talking.
Very well. Well, if you're ready, take my hand, and we will go.
She will reach her arm up.
Alright. He will grip onto your hand, and the two of you are teleported to Tyr's temple. Now, you guys are not on the outside, you guys are on the inside, and in fact, you are in the room where you and your companions had teleported. You can see the mechanism that you all had moved through is currently broken, non-functioning. There is a lot of like burnt remnants around some of the runes, but around other parts of them, they seem to have like unraveled and dissolved, as if moving through time in this violent way did have some, some after effects in this particular area. But as you arrive, Thor And, well, Tyr sends a message to Thrud. And about 10 minutes later, walking through the door, you see Odin flanked by Thrud and Thor. And he has a dark look in his eyes. His brows are furrowed as he steps forward. He looks to you and he looks to Tyr, and then he looks to you again. It seems as though most of his gaze of his singular eye is fixed on you. As he says,
I have words to speak with you.
Looking to Tyr.
But first, I wish to speak to Cecily. Alone.
She will give a nod to Tyr, just sort of a non-verbal sign of, this is okay.
Okay. Tyr will trust you, and he will look to Thor and Thrud and nod as well. And the three of them will begin to walk out. You can see Tyr, as he's moving away, he's still kind of keeping his head a little bit, not fully forward, kind of turned a little bit, where his ear is like pointing behind him, just so he can keep an ear out in case anything does happen. But they will continue to walk until eventually they're out of general earshot. As he looks down to you and says,
So, you've traveled a great distance, accomplished many great deeds, and now you return the soul of your father back in its body. I have heard tale of what you and your companions experienced. I wish to hear it from you, though, as it will have a great bearing on how I feel about the rest of this conversation. In Akai City, what did you see?
So about half of that old prophecy of yours come true. A spire of darkness descending upon the world, and I just happened to be there. The entire world was starting to unravel. This one point we were standing at seemed like it might be the worst of it in the whole of everything. And the man who I thought was my tutor, who mentored me back in Summer's Rest, who helped me figure out who I was before I had any answers, he was there, and he was at the center of it all. We only killed him because he was threatening to kill everything. Not only was he obviously allied with Draven and with Glacia, the others there, he was he was talking about tearing down everything. He said that every other reality he had created eventually ended in darkness, and he was ready to give up on this one. I have a hard time believing we killed him. But we did.
Truthfully, he claimed to be, and you believed him to be, the creator.
I had no reason to doubt him. Carasilla would be the one who would have the most motivation, knowledge to doubt him, and she didn't. After everything I've been through, it's the only thing that makes any sense. And that's the worst part of it.
Gods be damned. I believe you. You have no reason to lie about that, and I can hear it in your voice, solid as stone. I was deceived. That prophecy, it wasn't. It wasn't a proclamation from the divine for me to save my home. It was deceit. Vile deceit. Where I destroyed my home brick by brick to protect it. Somehow you, not having lived here not but a day, rebuilt it without knowing.
You can see he just kind of, he doesn't like fall down, but he kind of falls in on himself, where a lot of that confidence kind of drains. And you can see that very like old man posture take him, where his shoulders like slope and his head leans forward as he just kind of drains a bit.
You're not the man I talked to last time.
Much has changed. I could feel it. The death of the Creator. Part of me wanted to believe that it was you all fulfilling the prophecy, that you killed the Creator. In an effort to finally drown this world in shadow, but the world still stands. And the Creator's dead. For all the knowledge of all the world I consumed, ignorance still blinded me.
Well, it makes sense to me. You and I have a very different outlook on family, I think. As far as I see it, it makes perfect sense that a kid can keep living without a parent. Light's gonna keep living without its creator. And light has a chance to stay pure, even if its creator was a little fucked up. That's the good thing about it. We all get to choose who we're going to be. Some of us don't start with as good of a chance as others, and I'm probably going to spend the rest of my life trying to fix that. When all this is over. But after what you did to me, I had every reason to choose darkness. And I didn't. Because despite everything you took from me, I found a family. And I love them, and they love me. And I can't believe that I'm saying this now, but I'm so sorry for you. That your family's been so hurt. But I want you to know, if you just told me the truth, if you hadn't done what you did when I was born, if you hadn't let however you felt about my mom get in the way, that we could have been family. Maybe not the kind you wanted, but we could have been. Maybe we still can. I don't know. I'm not thinking that far ahead.
I don't think there's ever a world, Cecily, where I could have family in that way. It's in my nature, it's part of who I am. The best I can do is be a resource to those who have some semblance of empathy in them. The world has changed me. The love of family isn't what I want. Them to be safe, yes. But their admiration, their respect, their love, I cannot. What matters in this moment, though, is I was wrong to do what I did to you, to Tyr, and you see him linger for a moment, and your mother. And that I do apologize for. But I don't think I'll ever be the family you want.
However you feel, I hope for the rest of your life you are as loved as you deserve. And unless you have anything else to say, I think we should put all of our shit aside and talk about saving the fucking world.
I agree with. You see, he kind of turns around to call the others back and then looks back to you. And Cecily, is there anything else you wanted to say to Odin as the two of you were alone?
Nah, she's gonna stop while she's ahead. That was pretty good.
Okay. All right. So with that,
Tyr, Thrud, and Thor are called back in. And as the discussion begins, you can see Tyr in his temple. Various instruments and tools are brought forth to create these, highly detailed, highly intricate maps of sand and light, of Fjarlaleth, of Jormungandr, of the Salamander coast, of the world, for them to plot and plan. Tyr and Odin begin to discuss openly, in the company of you, Thor, and Thrud, of a membership to an organization that they both belong to, the Crimson Lily, an organization that has been around for as long as the Children of the Flame, as this secret organization of world leaders that have banded together to try and fight against the Shadow. Now, Odin, in his own, vanity, stopped trusting in them because he had believed everybody was against saving the world. But he did receive word of a meeting that will be happening later in this year. Now, that meeting, funnily enough, already happened in in Isles, where Odin and Thor were in the same room together, and we just kind of had to agree that hopefully this conversation went well. So glad you weren't like, "Hey, Odin, fuck you, lightning bolt."
I didn't kill him, guys.
Yeah. So that
Firestorm.
He's going to be working with various world leaders as well as Tyr to ensure that supplies are equally distributed amongst the world. The thing is, Thor and Tyr and Odin and Thrud can stay in one place to keep it safe. And the largest city in Jormungandr, as of right now, is Fjarlaleth. It has the most underground space due to the connected dwarven and Dowie ruins that are underneath the city, as well as room in the temple, which can be impenetrable to forces that Tyr does not allow. So they propose making this a safe hut to start bringing people in to Fjarlaleth and to keep this place safe, a stronghold against the Shadow in those final days. Something very similar is being done at Maester with the forces that Ajax is putting together, as well as the work that the mages at the College of Hearthcrest have been doing there. Bularolos has been doing. So that's achieved, and eventually more of the gods of Jormungandr do approach. And over this past year, Odin did start to right some of his wrongs after learning about Tyr's return. He does free Freya of the bonds that kept her together, so Freya is now freely able to assist individuals get from place to place. As Cecily, in your journeys with Tyr, the two of you probably would have met with her and talked with her for a bit, and she's thankful for what you did to help free her of those bonds. But you can see that as the conversation unfolds, Odin and Tyr have a rhythm. They complement each other. I mean, they truthfully are brothers, where they work together, they speak, they are practically one person with conflicting ideas, but they go back and forth and they debate, they disagree, and they come to some sort of middle ground that is best for all parties. I mean, you can see how Fjarlaleth grew to be so big and so powerful because these two together can do great things. You are also able to contribute a fair bit with the knowledge you've gained over your adventures, and Thor, as well as Thrud, are sent to various locations around the world to try and help prepare for things. But when shit goes down, they will be coming back to Fjarlaleth to help defend here. But after, several weeks of plotting, planning, converging with various world leaders, eventually, your time in Fjarlaleth is starting to come to an end, where you and Tyr can continue on your journey, head back to Balaclara, whatever you want to do, or Lislia, sorry, I remembered. Go wherever you want to go. But as the couple of weeks are winding down, was there anything else you wanted to say to specifically to Thor, Thrud, Odin, any of the other individuals here?
I think she'll come to a quiet acceptance and maybe talk to Tyr about it at some point, that like she's probably never going to be friends with Odin and Thor, and she'll just keep that relationship functional and civil rather than try to have any conversations with them again. Because Thor, she's not expecting an apology from him. It's fine. But wow. But Thrud probably they'll, talk outside of the meeting spaces, and maybe the three of them, Tyr, Thrud, and Cecily, can do some stuff together, because she clearly is longing for the thing that Odin said he can do without.
Yeah.
So maybe Tyr can be the one that provides that.
Yeah, and over the course of this next year, I mean, you and Thrud do grow incredibly close, where this sort of like, sisterhood and, parentage. Not only does she get that bond from you and from Tyr, but as things start to get better with Odin, Thor starts to become a better father. He starts to care more. He starts to listen. He starts to train her. And by the end of that year, Thrud is accepted and anointed as a Valkyrie. Anointed by Freya, who now leads them as she has returned.
Let's go, girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And...
Thanks, Bianca.
I'll contribute.
So invite you to the fucking ceremony.
Yeah,
hey, that's my lantern.
Yeah, Thrud wears it proudly. So, with that, Cecily, your time in Fjarlaleth comes to an end, as I'm sure you'll be back, but in terms of your conversation with Odin, there seems to be some semblance of peace that has been achieved. Right. So with that, there are a couple of narration beats that we're going to hit real quick. So for one, we are going to go to Giant's Bridge on the 10th of Frostwind. Suni, you return to Giant's Bridge, and over the next 3 months, you work with the individuals of the Giant's Palm, and you make a lot of strides and effort into improving it and making sure that it's less of a thieves guild and more of just an institution to help people. I believe you had said it was more of a Robin Hood situation. Was there anything else in particular that you wanted to achieve with them within Giant's Bridge? Or was just sort of reforming the organization to be a little less greedy, a little more helpful, the big one?
Give me just 1 second, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
I'm just moving locations real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Well, first order of business is that the Giant's Palm is now called the Dragon's Palm.
Hell yeah.
And I'm going to shed any past associations for the most part. But yeah, I think like it's obviously kind of like an still maybe more on the low down sort of group. Still trying to operate a little bit under the shadows. And there's a few people who Suni would want to invite specifically to join also, as well as some of the old members from the Giant's Palm.
Yeah. Electra is still
also-
alive from
yeah.
the Brotherhood. Yeah.
Yeah, she was cool.
Yeah.
So I would want to I would want to invite her to come. Obviously, Nicola, who was like Suni's thieving mentor. I always forget the name of the halfling.
Oh, Yang So.
Not that he ever came up.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yang, whatever it was.
Yang So. Yeah.
Something like that. Even though he didn't really like Suni. And I also would like, not that this needs to be like an official partnership with Bianca's kingdom, but he would offer like, obviously those resources and like to do anything within, just because it's still, I think, in that jurisdiction, right?
Yep. You on my
Yeah.
land,
So,
bitch.
yes, it is at your command whenever you need or don't want us to do something.
Okay.
So yeah, working with
Thanks, Suni.
Bianca and Carasilla, as she is master of secrets, master of whispers,
Oh yeah.
whatever the
Yes.
Right up
was
her
there.
alley.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think definitely. I mean, I think anyone who wants to be can be a part, but specifically, Bianca and Carasilla would be invited to be members and like sit in on things, just because that makes sense.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, yeah, Suni, you go through the process, reforming.
Oh wait, sorry, one more
yeah.
thing. I did also want that invitation to be forwarded to. Oh God, I'm blanking on so many names right now. What was
okay.
the name of the bugbear? Jesus Christ.
Oh,
I can't think of it.
Belvedere, yeah, like the shoes.
Belvedere, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes, I had just like had it in my brain because I think I sent it to you in a message. But I also would like, I don't know how helpful this would be, but would want to work with him specifically on like using some of his knowledge to, in how whatever way he can help out with the endeavors against the evil forces that be.
Yeah, of course.
Since he is a very talented alchemist. Yes.
Yeah, so you go ahead and pull him from Summer's Rest and pull him to Giant's Bridge in an effort to sort of help develop, the defenses of Giant's Bridge. However, at the end of downtime, he will be returning to Summer's Rest, but for the time being, he will help out as much as he can here, teaching individuals his alchemical secrets so they can have the tools necessary to, do whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Suni will revel in catching up with all of these eclectic people that have come.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a different vibe from the adventuring party because most of these people have not grown or developed at all since you last talked to them, so they're still at the same spot.
I love that kind of like balancing out all of these like chaotic neutral people.
Yeah.
Who are just kind of out there vibing, doing their thing, trying to push them in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly.
While still giving them opportunities to use their specific talent.
Yeah, which is very nice. Okay, so Suni, that takes about 3 months to do all of the organization, all of the training, all of the recruiting, as you go around to various places and Nick Fury people to get them to join the Dragon's Ball.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, within the city of Bromsgrove, here we go. That's where we're going to go ahead and jump to next. Carasilla, as you and Alton have finally returned from the Underdark, the travels don't stop there as you decide to go to Bromsgrove. And your goal is to travel around a bit of the world and just do some general sightseeing, helping out where you can, but heading to Bromsgrove first, as there is some family there. And of course, you do have to be at Morwen's wedding that she has, getting married to Kaelin there. So you go to attend the wedding, as well as any of the other. I think that because since Ryan is in Isles, obviously we did, a little bit of Morwen stuff there, but all of you per Morwen's request, are invited, of course. So maybe you go up with Carasilla initially. You go to the wedding. It's very nice. Woohoo! And Carasilla, you stay a little bit longer to, talk to family. You and Alton do a little bit more sightseeing within Bromsgrove. You showing him the sights and, all the places that you really care about. And also, while you're in Bromsgrove, you begin to do research on the dream world and the realm of spirits and anything you can find on the heart of souls. Anything and everything. So you begin your research here. Nowhere near being done, nowhere near enough information, but at least in Bromsgrove, the research has started. So was there anything in particular in Bromsgrove you wanted to do, show Alton, or is it just kind of all the sights, all that stuff, and then gonna bop around to different places around the world after that?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Definitely have like a big, especially since Morwen's also there, have a big family dinner thing. Both Alton and Kaylin there as well. But yeah, just vibes.
Okay, sounds good. So, Carasilla, that is exactly what you do. Starting in Bromsgrove, but then eventually traveling to various places around the world. And any place that you go that has a library, you investigate that library, trying to find more information. And in the evenings when you sleep, delving into that dream world, trying to push it in different ways to grow a bit more of an understanding of it. After that, we go ahead and jump to the 20th of January. Suni, you and Sultana do travel to Adarashi, and you spend a little bit of time with Suni Jr., as he's been staying with Alaric. Now, my question to you, you spend a little bit of time with him. He's definitely come out of his shell a lot, spending time with Ossian and Alaric. But my question to you is, where would you like to send Suni Jr. to kind of live permanently? As far as you know right now, there are 3 safe locations in the Salamander coast. There is Fjardeleth, there is there is Damaris City, Damaris Keep, and then there is the hideaway in Loshar that Laufey had been living in, where all of you had gone after Cecily's death. Of those 3 places, is there anywhere in particular you would feel most comfortable with him going?
Well, I think Suni would ask him what his preference is. He would describe them and describe the people who were kind of ahead of each thing and the vibe of the city. Just because I don't want him to go somewhere and be like, oh shit, this is really horrible for me.
Yeah. I think that he would kind of think for a second, and he would say,
is there one where I'd get to see you and Sultana the most?
Oh, my heart. Which of... I guess that would be I don't know, Damaris City would be able to see me the most often?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And I think Suni would visibly be like, oh my god. And he would say, and would invite him to live in... We don't have to, again, RP it that much, but yeah, he would invite him to do that and set up a little... I don't know where exactly... Are there, safe, areas for shelters for people to stay in, or is there...
So the entire city has been outfitted thanks to the Hidden Flame from Carasilla and from the College of Hearthcrest. It has been kind of outfitted to be protected, the entire city itself. So unless the entire world falls apart, this will be one safe place that can't be affected by the sort of dark influences of the Forsaken.
Cool. So, he can just live with us, I guess?
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, maybe somewhere that isn't so in, I don't want him to be, in the way or anything. Not in a bad way. I just mean,
Stupid
God,
kid!
Obviously, that's so horrible for me to say. Stupid, yeah.
Well, I mean, I assume Sultana and Suni would have a home.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they could either have a house within Damaris City, or I mean, the keep is huge. I mean, it's built into the side of a mountain, so there's tons of room in there.
He
For them
can
to
live
stay.
where you guys live. Just a suggestion.
Yeah,
you
that would
know.
be sweet. I think that would be fine.
Yeah.
And that way we can directly keep an eye on him. And we're as far as it goes for where to live, I don't know if that really matters that much. But if everyone's like in the keep, obviously we'd stay in the keep. But if everyone else, I know that not everyone else is like right here right now, but like generally, if that's the most convenient place, we would probably do that if it was okay with Her Majesty.
That's where Cecily will be returning to the most as well, probably.
I think it's just for the time being, it makes the most sense.
The council are welcome where the council wants to go. Y'all got weight and clout, so don't worry about it.
Well, Bianca doesn't have a problem with like a little snot-nosed brat running around here.
Oh my god, it's not no brat. Homie lived in a
He
cage
had
for...
them at the start of the campaign, so she's just used to it at this point.
Can you imagine? He's like spoiled now. This is not the wine I ordered,
He deserves to
servant.
be spoiled. He's earned it.
He's a good kid.
Yeah.
And Zuni will try to take the best care, even though he has never known a father figure, really. But he'll...
You know all the bad things, and sometimes knowing all the bad things is good enough to be a good dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because you do the opposite of all those bad things,
Yep.
Alrighty.
You'll at least be a neutral father.
So, Suni, you and Sultana, you raise Junior. And you move him back to Damaris City. And boy, holy crap. He thought other places he'd been in were big. This place, holy crap, he cannot get over, even in the dead of winter, how pretty it is. And he is obsessed with that he gets to live in a castle. Like, he gets to live in a castle. And he keeps saying that to you. I get to live in a castle. Did you? I get to live in a castle. Like, he keeps saying it over and over and over again.
Aww.
You think
Honestly,
he's
this is
broken?
Suni-
Where
No, it's all for him.
Yeah, he's
the heir.
I've named my heir this random kid. I've known him for I guess a year now, technically.
Yeah.
We found him in a hole, and he shall rule the kingdom.
Okay. So, fantastic. We then move on to February as we move to the 17th of Darkspire. Move back to Belka City. Not Belka City. Whoa! That's the wrong place. We move to... What the fuck is it? I have too many tabs open right now. God damn it! We move to Damaris City. Wait, what the hell? There it is. We move to Damaris City in Keep as Bianca, same as what you had done before, your duties keep you fairly busy. However, word had kind of spread to you about investors that maybe were acting a little strange, that had earned like, mayor or like governorhood, or even were given like small plots of land to be lords of various cities and towns. But you end up in this between February to about May, so Darkspire to Greengrass, you end up having to use Suni's organization, as well as a little bit of help from Carasilla here and there, to root out these spies and plotters, servants of the Forsaken, specifically individuals that have been working closely with some type of demonic force that you assume to be Isin.
Bro just won't stop.
So, those usurpers are caught. They are imprisoned, and same as you had done with the other individuals, they will be given a fair trial. But, Bianca, you entrust the duties to your council when they can be there. As you, on that day, after the prisoners are caught and imprisoned, you go on a hunt as it's time for you to track down, or at least find some sign of Issen to try and understand what they're trying to do and see, hopefully, if by the end of the year you can stop them. So you begin that hunt. It takes you through most of Lislia and through many of the cities that are there, but eventually it ends up taking you away, far away, over to Loshar, and then to Adarashi, to Thoral, and then eventually back to Adarashi. And we'll go ahead and get to what you find later in the year, as it's not until about August or Sunspire that you actually find something. So it's about 5 months that you're on the hunt. So come back to that.
She's gonna get him.
Yeah. Yeah, you are. Okay. So, we then are going to go ahead and jump to Ajax. So, Ajax, you have been doing a fair bit of work related to the Centurion, recruiting individuals, training them, creating this elite fighting force, as well as working with the newly appointed Lord Commander Zeno of Belka in an effort to make sure that people are as safe as they possibly can be in the weeks, months, and years to come. Many of the Centurion's forces do need to be placed near Damaris City and Damaris Keep to protect the throne of the monarch. But still, a good majority of them are left elsewhere. As the forces have been trained, they have been adjusted, and you know where all of them are, and you have a special sort of sending stone that allows you to communicate with various captains of various battalions to instruct them if they need to go somewhere else. Ajax, one thing that you would also know in the time that you've been working closely with various world leaders from Lady Twig Forrester, allies they had made within the Astral Sea and of the Hells, an alien race known as the Arcans, are providing ships, like Astral Sea Spelljammer ships that will allow your forces to traverse quickly around the world, where they can literally jump, like teleport from place to place. So that way, all of you and the Centurion, should they need to go somewhere immediately, they can get there. So that is something that is given to you and something that you're told about. And you tell those various ships where to go in the most strategically effective place, because on top of being able to quickly get around, they can provide a lot of artillery fire on massive hordes of monsters. So you effectively strategize with your various commanders and with Zeno. And eventually, you have several weeks where there's a lull. So you decide to make your way to Belka, the former capital, or still capital, I guess. It's really up to Bianca, I suppose, of Lislia. But you go here, and specifically, you head to the large cathedral as you head to the Crypt of the Eight. And you make your way down below as you decide to go to Amelia's grave, as you had heard that this is where she was buried. You make your way down the cobbled stone steps and make the solemn approach to the tomb. And you can see her name carved in, and you can see that the top of the tomb is carved in her likeness. As you step forward, on her, the writing on the tomb, you can see carved
In common, it states, "To one we lost too soon, to one who will forever be missed, to one who captured the hearts of all who she spoke to. You will be missed." And as you place your hand on it, is there anything in particular you wanted to leave behind, or you can just say, Ajax says a few words, but was there anything in particular you wanted to do?
Yeah, I think Ajax brought flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Probably brought like lilies, and placed them on her grave, and just kind of looks towards her grave and says,
I never told you how I felt. I never found the courage to say the words that were always on my heart. You were more than just a friend. You were the warmth and the light in the world that could be so cold and dark. You weren't a warrior like me, but your kindness and your smile were stronger than any blade. Your laughter, your gentle touch, it all made life seem better. Made me believe there was something more than just the fight. I wanted to tell you how much you meant to me, but I was always too nervous, too afraid that I'd ruin what we had. When I lost you, I thought I'd never get the chance to say goodbye, never get the chance to tell you what you meant to me. But when I got to speak to your spirit, it was like a second chance, a gift I never expected. Seeing you again, hearing your voice, it meant more to me than I could ever say. I'm so grateful for that moment, for the chance to tell you how much I cared. Your memory drives me forward every day. It's what pushes me to keep going, to make this world a better place. One where people like you can live their lives in peace without fear. I promise you, Amelia, I'll keep fighting until my last breath. I'll make sure your death wasn't in vain, that your memory lives on everything I do. And when that time comes, when everything is done, I can't wait to see you again. Until then, I'll carry you with me always.
and he kneels down and places a hand on the gravestone and just places his forehead on it, and then stands up, and then slowly just walks away.
Yeah.
Then he kind of stops and then looks back and then just nods and then walks off.
Yeah. All right. So to Amelia, you say your goodbyes. You lay the flowers down and you walk away. Sadly, solemnly, leaving that part of your life behind, but keeping a part of it with you. So, with that, you leave Belka and eventually return to your duties as the Master of War and Defense. You know, Ajax, you can't save everyone, but hopefully you can at least save someone like Amelia. And maybe that'll make all this finally just a little more worth it. So, with that, we do jump back just very briefly to Carasilla, as Carasilla
By the 10th of April, you and Alton are continuing to move around the world, helping people as much as you can, now having stopped in the Gemstone, to Port Sahala, talking with various people, working with the wardens, trying to help as many people as possible get some type of safety there. After Port Sahala, you head to Odero. And within Odero, there you're able to find more libraries and more books. And you can feel yourself getting closer to something. Something is beckoning you. But you're not exactly sure what it is. It feels familiar, which is very strange. But you keep pursuing it. You need answers. The research comes and goes, and you and Alton move on, heading north towards Cartasia. What I will say is Alton is over the moon, head over heels, just in love with everything he's doing. There is so much color in the world that he's learning every single day, is learning more and more about it. And every chance he gets, he does tell Carasilla how thankful he is to have her.
Imagine, especially because, like, you know, neither of them have been in this area. I imagine both of them are kind of just like being like.
They got the tourist outfit, you know.
Feels like the wrong words, but the right attitude, you know. They're both like looking at things, be like, I know what the fuck that is. Let's go see.
Both got the fanny packs on, the large blotch of sunscreen on the nose, you know. Oh wow! Taking pictures of everything.
For
Okay, awesome. So, we move on from Carasilla. Now, Suni, you've been spending some time within the All-Seeing Temple in Maester, but also moving back and forth between Damaris City as well as the Giant's Palm, or not the Giant's Palm, Giant's Bridge, and working with the Dragon's Palm. You've been fairly busy. But there was one thing in particular you told some of the individuals in your group. There was a young girl named Anna that you wished to find. You gave a description and you told them that she was from Wild's Edge, but last you had saw she was at the Old Spire Outpost. And, well, after about 3 months, you do eventually get word of where she is. And you make the journey to Wild's Edge, back where she's from. And as you make the journey, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break right there before we move forward, before we get into that conversation. So let's say 6 minutes for 20 your time. 6 minutes. Be there or be square. Thanks for watching so far. We'll be right back.
To finish the story.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard? Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
He's gay, but he has a special connection to classical music. There's many things that are interesting about him.
In Avatar: The Last Airbender, it is done so well. But here's the thing. It grows to be more in depth. The spirit world becomes a thing, and it grows even more in depth after that. More layers get added on more layers, right? Not everybody in the Earth Kingdom is good. Not everybody in the Water Tribes. They're not all underpowered, right? Because the Northern Water Tribe is so strong. And not everybody in the Fire Nation is evil. The layers continue to be added the longer the story goes on. In your campaign, do that. Most people have a hard time starting a campaign because they don't know where to start. They think they need 7 kingdoms, hundreds of houses, thousands of NPCs. No! Stop! You don't need that. What you need is one town, one place, 4 or 5 NPCs, and an inciting incident.
What a joke. I worked my ass off to get where I am. And you take these shortcuts and you think suddenly you're my peer? You do what I do because you're funny and you can make people laugh? I committed my life to this.
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead. Dead like if I can guarantee Henry would be okay. I hope you get an illness and then get hit by a car and die.
In this video, we're going to talk about secondary objectives, a way to make your combat encounters spicy, delicious, fantastic. Secondary objectives enhance combat in D&D to an exponential degree. Let's go ahead and dive into number 10. Rescue missions. Task your players with rescuing an NPC or retrieving an item during combat. It will help add layers of urgency and potentially even a moral dilemma. My favorite example of this is instead of sending the players to kill the goblin camp that may raid the village, right? That's a consequence. Sometimes that's good enough. The goblins abducted the blacksmith. And now they need to save the blacksmith and kill the goblins. It's a secondary objective that spices things up.
You people should be thanking Christ that I am who and what I am because you need me. You need me to save you. You do. I am the only one who possibly can. You're not the real heroes. I'm the real hero.
Holy, look at all this damage!
Where? Where?
Where, Dwight?
Seems like you already know where. Hi, I'm Saul Goodman. Did you know that you have rights? The Constitution says you do, and so do I. I believe that until proven guilty, every man, woman, and child in this country is innocent.
Now it's left to me to deal with him. You can't. If you try to interfere, this becomes a much simpler matter. I will kill your wife. I will kill your son. I will kill your infant daughter.
But for now, we're going to look at a slightly different system that doesn't just affect the moment of death, but the moments before death. Something that makes combat more grounded, horror more horrifying, and sacrifices all the more heroic. Picture a movie fight scene between a hero and villain. They're clashing blades, dancing back and forth, parrying, dodging, blocking, keeping up with each other's advances, surprising each other with new techniques and strategies, until finally, one of them lands a devastating blow. It's not just a graze on the arm, it's not just a smack on the chest. It's 0 HP. When using the point of no return system, we want to draw attention to this moment of the fight, to make that hit extra cinematic and weighted and affect the decisions that your players are going to make when they are given that critical choice of staying down or getting up.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
So with that, let's go ahead and dive into our first build, the level 5 Blighted Warden.
In the shadowed underbrush of the ancient forest, where the line between decay and growth blurs, the Blighted Warden moves unseen. A spectral guardian at the crossroads of life and death, melding the Gloomstalker's mastery of darkness with the Circle of Spores' eerie command over fungal life. They are the embodiment of nature's unchecked, wild ferocity. With each arrow knocked from their twisted, spore-infested bow, they strike with the precision of night and the inevitable spread of decay. A silent protector of the natural order's darker, untamed side.
So there we go. There's our thematic intro.
I have to finish the story.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard? Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
He's gay, but he has a special connection to classical music. There's many things that are interesting about him.
In Avatar: The Last Airbender, it is done so well. But here's the thing. It grows to be more in depth. The spirit world becomes a thing, and it grows even more in depth after that. More layers get added on more layers, right? Not everybody in the Earth Kingdom is good. Not everybody in the Water Tribes. They're not all underpowered, right? Because the Northern Water Tribe is so strong. And not everybody in the Fire Nation is evil. The layers continue to be added the longer the story goes on. In your campaign, do that. Most people have a hard time starting a campaign because they don't know where to start. They think they need 7 kingdoms, hundreds of houses, thousands of NPCs. No! Stop! You don't need that. What you need is one town, one place, 4 or 5 NPCs, and an inciting incident.
What a joke. I worked my ass off to get where I am. And you take these shortcuts and you think suddenly you're my peer? You do what I do because you're funny and you can make people laugh? I committed my life to this.
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead. Dead like if I can guarantee Henry would be okay. I'd hope you get an illness and then get hit by a car and die.
In this video, we're going to talk about secondary objectives, a way to make your combat encounters spicy, delicious, fantastic. Secondary objectives enhance combat in D&D to an exponential degree. Let's go ahead and dive into number 10. Rescue missions. Task your players with rescuing an NPC or retrieving an item during combat. It will help add layers of urgency and potentially even a moral dilemma. My favorite example of this is instead of sending the players to kill the goblin camp that may raid the village, right? That's a consequence. Sometimes that's good enough. The goblins abducted the blacksmith. And now they need to save the blacksmith and kill the goblins. It's a secondary objective that spices things up.
You people should be thanking Christ that I am who and what I am because you need me. You need me to save you. You do. I am the only one who possibly can. You're not the real heroes. I'm the real hero.
Holy, look at all this damage!
Where? Where?
Where, Dwight?
Seems like you already know where.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman. Did you know that you have rights? The Constitution says you do, and so do I. I believe that until proven guilty, every man, woman, and child in this country is innocent.
Now is left to me to deal with him. You can't.
If you try to interfere,
This becomes a much simpler matter. I will kill your wife. I will kill your son. I will kill your infant daughter.
But for now, we're going to look at a slightly different system that doesn't just affect the moment of death, but the moments before death. Something that makes combat more grounded, horror more horrifying, and sacrifices all the more heroic. Picture a movie fight scene between a hero and villain. They're clashing blades, dancing back and forth, parrying, dodging, blocking, keeping up with each other's advances, surprising each other with new techniques and strategies, until finally, one of them lands a devastating blow. It's not just a graze on the arm, it's not just a smack on the chest. It's 0 HP. When using the point of no return system, we want to draw attention to this moment of the fight, to make that hit extra cinematic and weighted and affect the decisions that your players are going to make when they are given that critical choice of staying down or getting up.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
So with that, let's go ahead and dive into our first build, the level 5 Blighted Warden.
In the shadowed underbrush of the ancient forest, where the line between decay and growth blurs, the Blighted Warden moves unseen. A spectral guardian at the crossroads of life and death, melding the Gloomstalker's mastery of darkness with the Circle of Spores' eerie command over fungal life. They are the embodiment of nature's unchecked, wild ferocity. With each arrow knocked from their twisted, spore-infested bow, they strike with the precision of night and the inevitable spread of decay. A silent protector of the natural order's darker, untamed side.
So there we go. There's our thematic intro.
I have to finish the story.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard? Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
He's gay, but he has a special connection to classical music. There's many things that are interesting about him.
In Avatar: The Last Airbender, it is done so well. But here's the thing. It grows to be more in depth. The spirit world becomes a thing, and it grows even more in depth after that. More layers get added on more layers, right? Not everybody in the Earth Kingdom is good. Not everybody in the Water Tribes. They're not all underpowered, right? Because the Northern Water Tribe is so strong. And not everybody in the Fire Nation is evil. The layers continue to be added the longer the story goes on. In your campaign, do that. Most people have a hard time starting a campaign because they don't know where to start. They think they need 7 kingdoms, hundreds of houses, thousands of NPCs. No! Stop! You don't need that. What you need is one town, one place, 4 or 5 NPCs, and an inciting incident.
What a joke. I worked my ass off to get where I am. And you take these shortcuts and you think suddenly you're my peer? You do what I do because you're funny and you can make people laugh? I committed my life to this.
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead. Dead like if I can guarantee Henry would be okay. I'd hope you get an illness and then get hit by a car and die.
In this video, we're going to talk about secondary objectives, a way to make your combat encounters spicy, delicious, fantastic. Secondary objectives enhance combat in D&D to an exponential degree. Let's go ahead and dive into number 10, rescue missions. Task your players with rescuing an NPC or retrieving an item during combat. It will help add layers of urgency and potentially even a moral dilemma. My favorite example of this is instead of sending the players to kill the goblin camp that may raid the village, right? That's a consequence. Sometimes that's good enough. The goblins abducted the blacksmith. And now they need to save the blacksmith and kill the goblins. It's a secondary objective that spices things up.
You people should be thanking Christ that I am who and what I am because you need me. You need me to save you. You do. I am the only one who possibly can. You're not the real heroes. I'm the real hero.
Holy, look at all this damage!
Where? Where?
Where, Dwight?
Seems like you already know where.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman. Did you know that you have rights? Constitution says you do, and so do I. I believe that until proven guilty, every man, woman, and child in this country is innocent.
Now is left to me to deal with him. You can't.
If you try to interfere,
This becomes a much simpler matter. I will kill your wife. I will kill your son. I will kill your infant daughter.
But for now, we're going to look at a slightly different system that doesn't just affect the moment of death, but the moments before death. Something that makes combat more grounded, horror more horrifying, and sacrifices all the more heroic. Picture a movie fight scene between a hero and villain. They're clashing blades, dancing back and forth, parrying, dodging, blocking, keeping up with each other's advances, surprising each other with new techniques and strategies, until finally, one of them lands a devastating blow. It's not just a graze on the arm, it's not just a smack on the chest. It's 0 HP. When using the point of no return system, we want to draw attention to this moment of the fight, to make that hit extra cinematic and weighted and affect the decisions that your players are going to make when they are given that critical choice of staying down or getting up.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
So with that, let's go ahead and dive into our first build, the level 5 Blighted Warden.
In the shadowed underbrush of the ancient forest, where the line between decay and growth blurs, the Blighted Warden moves unseen. A spectral guardian at the crossroads of life and death, melding the Gloomstalker's mastery of darkness.
One time I had a cancer panic and it was just my second testicle.
Welcome
we're back,
everybody.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
So let's go ahead and dive back in. As we left off, we were about to dive in to the city of Wild's Edge. Suni had spent a small amount of resources of the Dragon's Palm to find Anna, an individual that had written him a letter, that had written to him in the hopes of reconnecting with him. And Suni had written to her. Never knew if the letter was delivered or not, but thanks to his resources, he was able to locate her, as she is within the city of Wild's Edge, the home she grew up in. So, Suni, you ready yourself and you begin to travel all the way to the southeastern corner of Lislia to the city of Wild's Edge. Now, your information told you that there is a collection of smaller pastures and farmhouses on the outside of the city walls, near the forest's edge where she had been seen. So that is where you head. Now, by the time that you are able to do this, it is late April, late storm tide. And there is, as you arrive in Wild's Edge, rain begins to fall. And you can see, as you begin to approach the house, through one of the windows, you can see a younger woman that you recognize that you had last seen in the Old Spire Outpost, currently in Wild's Edge, in a house running back and forth. She doesn't see you, but you know that this is her house, and it's up to you how you want to approach.
Does she know that was she given warning that I was coming?
She could. It's entirely up to you. If you wanted to let them know that
to like give her a heads up, that's fine, or not, that's also okay.
I think he would have just gone. Yeah, I think he would have just gone and surprised her. And he would just knock on the door, I suppose. And when she, or eventually, I guess, would she be the person who opened it?
Yeah.
He would, when she opened it, would like smile, and, like reach out his arm to druidcraft, like create just like a little flower into his hand and give it to her, and say, "Hey, it's been a while. I understand if you don't really want to talk. I know that was a lot of the last time we saw each other. But it is like I felt like I needed to you at least one more time. Make things right."
Well, come on in. There's no sense in standing out in the cold rain. And she'll take the flower.
I'm actually freezing.
And she'll shut the door as you walk in, as the rain fades into the background as the door shuts behind you. And the warmth of the fire embraces you. She helps you take off the cloak you'd been wearing and hangs it at a post by the door. And she leads you into a very small, humble house. And you can see that there's already a vase on this table near the kitchen that she takes a cluster of, decomposing flowers. Obviously hasn't been, the best taken care of, but she does take those ones out and sort of dumps the water and sets the container outside on a windowsill and sets that flower on the ground to let some fresh water get in there. And she looks back to you and says, "Do you want something to eat? I have some stew here if you're hungry."
That's very kind of you to offer, but I think I'm okay.
I got your letter. And I'm sorry I never wrote back. In all honesty, I didn't know where to send it.
I hope the money made it your way too.
It did. That's how I was able to buy this place.
Very nice. And I'm very willing to give you more flowers if you'd like. I have a whole bouquet to go with that. And brighten up the place a little bit.
Honestly, I have no problem growing the flowers. I just have a hard time keeping them alive. So if you have any tips for that, I'd gladly take that.
I think we can maybe take a look and tricky little things, honestly. So don't blame yourself too much. How have you been?
Good. Things were rough at Old Spire after everything happened. God, it was so long ago. I was placed under watch, and I was imprisoned for a short time until I was exonerated.
because you and your companions were the ones that did what you did, and you had been last seen communicating with me. They thought that I was maybe connected to it. Luckily, I was able to prove my innocence and move on, but I wasn't able to work there anymore.
Sorry. I think I've, as much as I hate to admit that I needed to, I think I've grown up a lot over the past while since it's been, and I made some rash decisions on that day, all those many moons ago, and I'm sorry. It hadn't crossed my mind that I would be putting you in danger, and I just was being stupid and was scared. So I am sorry, but I'm glad you made it out of there, because honestly, those people kind of sucked.
They did. And I didn't like what I was doing, but eventually I was able to, I headed north to Summer's Rest, and I was able to take an apprenticeship under a man by the name of Gren. Master Spook was very kind to me while I was there, and he taught me various rituals and ceremonies and services dedicated to the Raven Queen, and so I've been applying those services here. There's a temple just a 10-minute walk that way. And I've been working there, helping provide rites for those that have passed, helping entomb their bodies, or whichever ritual their families wish to have performed on them. And it's solemn work, it's sad, but I don't know, helping people find closure, I think, is something that's very important to me. And as hard as it is to say, I am very glad that you came.
I was worried that you would turn me away, to be honest.
I thought about it. There were people that came into town asking about me. They did a good job of keeping it secretive, but people in small towns talk a lot. And, well, it didn't take long for word to get to me, and well, I had heard word of a bronze dragonborn in Giant's Bridge who had gotten up to no good. Well, I assumed that you maybe had something to do with it, as they definitely seemed like Northerners. But, I don't think I could ever turn you away. Suni. Actually turn you away.
I'm glad that's the case. I'm happy to be here, because, to be honest, life's not much worth living if you're not getting into a little bit of trouble every now and again. And like I said, I've come to a lot of truth and a lot of clarity. I didn't think I needed, but I'm glad that I got it. About who I am and who I was, and the person who you knew before you'd seen each other last. To spare you some of the boring details about, I guess, my place in the world, person who you knew was me, but not really me. I spoke with him recently, actually. I know him because hard to say. He's very. I'm very much still part of him, and he's very much still a part of me. But he fell down a bad path. For whatever reasons he fell down, and he fell down quickly. And I'm sorry that it got involved with you, and I know you weren't directly involved, but I know that his sudden absence meant a great deal to you. I want to make all of these things right, because the person who you thought he was is who I am. And the person who he was outside of who you knew him, better off gone. I hope we can start again. I'm Suni. He'll extend his hand.
I'm Anna. And she'll reach out and shake it. Well, Suni, I think that as busy as I'm sure you are being on the Queen's Council, as I have heard, being but a lowly priestess that I am, I must insist that you at least stay for dinner to at least dry off before heading back out into the rain. It would be very appropriate, I think.
It would be a great honor. And by the way, there is no such thing as a lowly priest or priestess. No such thing. And in fact, if you'll have me until the rain goes away, I think I can take a look at your flowers and maybe around some of the other spots in town and see what I can do.
I think that would be very kind of someone of your station. Thank you so much. And she'll head back over to the kitchen and she'll prepare a bowl of this meaty stew and set it down in front of you. And Suni, from that moment on, you spend the next several hours here eating, talking, chatting, starting anew, starting fresh. The stew is fine. It's not it's not the best. You know, it is definitely a perpetual stew situation where this same pot of stew has been cooking for, 4 months now. Just adding different ingredients to it. But it has protein, has vegetables. There's salt. So, you can make anything taste better with enough salt. But eventually, as the rain breaks, you're able to go outside and you can see in the gardens around her house some of the flowers and some of the things that are growing in there are a little more aggressive and a little more overwhelming, so it's weakening the plants. So when they are removed, they don't have nearly as much health as they would normally. So you spend a couple more hours there, you help her sort the garden, you help her sort of move some plants, some sprouts around, organizing it a little bit more, separating it, and you add some order back to the garden to allow things to grow healthily, to sprout strongly. But
yeah, I would also like to add, in addition to doing that, he would like to spend as much time as necessary doing it if it's affordable to the group's overarching plans, to go to each farmer in the area and in the town and cast the 8-hour casting of plant growth on all of their farms and all of the farmland and just the whole area. And if there's patches of wildflowers out and about or whatever, so just really trying to make this little town a little safe haven of nature and a bountiful harvest for them and all of those things. Just to do the whole town a little kindness.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, they are thankful, as there's an immediate effect, as quadruple the yields will be harvested come fall. Enough food to feed Lyra, 4 times over. So the people are so thankful, and you have more than enough time to do that. You spend maybe a month here, but that's something that you can afford to do. As Suni, we then move from you speaking to Anna, you spending that month there. We then come to the 12th of May, as it's been something that has been, been being organized for a while now, but eventually is finally time as we move back to Damara's city and Damara's keep. My question to you is, for the marriage of Sultana and Suni, is there anything in particular you really wanted, or that you think maybe where it would be, what it would be like, who would be there? What are your thoughts?
I don't think it needs to be a huge gathering of people. But I thought maybe it would be sweet if there was a place to do it, like in the on top of, I can't remember exactly the name of the location, but on the grove where Halukatha people were freed, and Sultana and Suni passed the rings down the side. If that, I feel like there was like a little clearing up there or something where that had happened.
Yeah, those tombstones and all those purple and orange flowers that contrasted with the snow. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you wouldn't want to do too much on the tombstone thing, just to be respectful of who this area actually belongs to. But I mean, just maybe just a layer outside of just the immediate party, I don't know if Suna would have time to come, but she would be invited. Any of the major reoccurring people who made a big difference would be invited, but I don't think it needs to be a huge party. It is going to be very. He loves his splendor and extravagance, so it will be an extravagant but intimate affair.
Yeah. Who would Suni and Sultana want to have officiate?
Oh God. Varnas.
Okay, yeah. Varnas makes the time. He's happy to do so.
If he would come, I would love for him to. I mean, he is a Eric and is.
Yeah. He's the reason why Sultana's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Varnast, although he has a very cold and hard exterior, he loves love, and he's happy to be there for it. Him and Sven both come, which is Varnast's partner. So
are they married?
They are. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So Varnast's husband is here as well. And obviously all the party members, and then that sort of 1 degree removed from all the party members are there as well. We'll say that all the forerunners, they make it too. They take the time.
Oh yeah.
The rest of the wards are there too. Oh, sure, why not? Fuck it.
I'm not cool. I'm not popular. So.
But the marriage ceremony is had. You and Sultana, you finally take this next step that only makes sense considering how closely the two of you are tied together. But at least in this last life, the two of you will live together. You will do it bound together as husband and wife. As the ceremony concludes, there is this swirl of magic in the area as the plants sing at this holy matrimony. So, Suni and Sultana married at last at the...
Only took, a couple dozen lifetimes?
It finally happened! Oh man, exactly.
Do you guys have a bouquet throw? Is that a thing you do?
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Cool.
And it's a very, very beautiful bouquet, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Well, you got Nature Boy over here.
Not to be confused with Ric Flair, I should state, but Suni.
Yeah, I was gonna be confusing too until you said that.
Okay, so you do the bouquet throw. Well, Sultana does, I suppose. Any takers for people that's trying to grab it? Guess it's really, that question is really only aimed at Cecily and Carasilla.
I guess so.
What, Ajax wouldn't be there?
It's not your turn.
You can catch it if you want. That'd be pretty
Ajax,
funny.
Ajax would see it as like a challenge.
Oh my god.
You would definitely.
He'd like throw his spear to like pin it to the wall and be like, "Haha, I got it."
It just
Like, that's not the point of the game, Ajax.
Oh. Whoops.
I like to imagine. I like
Kyo
to imagine.
trying to catch the bouquet.
Oh, Kyo.
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. I just would like to imagine that if Cecily does catch it, it is on accident. Like somebody else fumbles it and she instinctually goes to help.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody starts applauding her and she's like, oh.
Oh, is Poe there? Oh.
Oh, Poe would be
Well,
there,
yeah. She'd bring him.
Suni would just like elbow Poe a little bit.
They've got matching Jormungandry outfits.
Oh yeah. Is Carasilla trying to catch it?
Nah, man, I'm gonna let Cecily get it. That's cute.
All right. So, Cecily
Everyone moves.
as you go to, this is so funny. Thrud is also there.
That's cute.
Right. She would be.
So Thrud is very strong, but not very dexterous. So as she goes to try and catch it, she does bump into it, and you try to like whack it back towards her, but as you do, you kind of hit it the wrong way and knock it towards you and try to catch it instinctually before it falls to the ground. But you end up catching it. And Thrud will kind of punch your shoulder and be like, I wanted that.
I wanted you to want that. Whoops.
Poe does one of the. Ooh.
Yikers.
Let's see. How many months away is the end of the world? Can we squeeze another wedding in that time? I don't know.
Oh my god.
Too soon.
Jeez. Never too soon.
Yeah, we need to send her into war first, That feels appropriate. Age.
Yeah. Now,
That's
what I will say is that there is another ceremony, not another thing where it's like the garter thing. That's not a thing because I think that's such a weird.
No, it's so weird.
As somebody who strange,
non-canonical.
It's another flower toss because it's Suni after all. He's the flower guy. So
just boy flowers.
Which, by the way, Suni Jr. would have been the ring bearer. I think that only makes sense.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
But Suni, as you do another bouquet toss, it's so funny because Alex steps into the group. She doesn't understand. Like, she just walks in. It's like, I will catch this. And you can see Poe is thinking about doing it, but seeing Alec in there, he just looks to you, Cecily. He's like, I'm not messing with that.
Yeah, no, she'll just nod like, it's all right. We already got one for the team.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Wait, I would like to say I think Suni's wouldn't be flowers. I think his would be like a little bonsai tree.
Ooh.
A full-ass tree? You're chucking at people? I know, but I imagine
with it in the pot and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I
By the way,
would have
those
like a cloth wrapping that has like water.
I don't know if you guys have ever held a bonsai tree in one of those pots. The pots they use are fucking heavy as shit.
Well, that's why he's not using
Probably the soil and shit with it. Like, that's what the
Fantasy
weight is.
dragon bonsai.
Ajax is going
It's
to
gonna have to be that huge.
definitely challenge Alec into that because
Alton better be getting in there or I'm rioting.
As you approach Ajax, Alec goes, "Are you attempting to court someone?"
No, I just thought it'd be fun.
Then step away.
Now I want to do it even more. All right, fine. Have your fun.
Alton does
Is Alec courting?
move up into the group. Oh,
Yeah, Sigan here?
no, Sigrun is not here. Sigrun is with Emerald right now, who has not been seen in a year and a half.
Yeah, whatever.
I love it.
So
Sure, they're fine.
Alton does
Who's Alec
approach.
courting?
Alton
Well,
better
we'll
win.
find out in a second. How about you?
Everyone
shut
shut
your
up.
freaking mouths. Something I already talked to Kayla about, so it's been approved. But Alton does approach, and he's gonna try and catch it. He's gonna step up to Alec.
I'm gonna give him Boddick.
Oh, he's gonna need it. So I'm gonna do a public roll here, and it's the only time I'm gonna roll during downtime. Alton is your bardic is what, a D12, a D8,
Yeah, it's like stupid like that, yeah.
a D10,
I think it's a
D12.
D100.
a D12.
Yeah, D100 actually.
D1000.
Plus 5. So this is what Alton rolls.
It's just a circle.
Wow.
Damn. Alton.
The bardic was a 9 though, so Kara's inspiration, definitely helped him a lot. It's just
I want to use my Persephone's grace. No, Fate's decree. That's what it is.
to let
Give
him
him a reroll.
re-roll. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I trip Alec?
Yeah.
I
you
want
talking with Alec, you
Alton.
mod?
Look, I want things for Alec too, but Alton, baby.
Okay. 25.
Hell
There you go.
yeah.
All right, Alec.
It's gonna have some stupid modifier.
She's gonna go into her she's gonna go into a rage.
Raging?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You're gonna break him.
So about tripping Alec.
He dies.
Oh, I almost sent a picture of the bug in the chat. Whoops.
That would have been really funny. Bug.
Bug.
Control C. Okay, here you go. So that's Alec's first roll.
Uh-oh.
Oh my god.
With advantage. 32.
It didn't matter.
So
Stupid.
So Alec's strength is like 26 or something like that. So she you can see she like lurches down and like watches the bouquet, and you can see Alton, he's pretty light on his feet. He's pretty dexterous, as he's able to sort of dance around it, and he's like moving near Alec, and he's ready to jump up and intercept it. But Alec like crouches, just like, hand, feet, ready to pounce like a jaguar. And then as soon as it's at that prime arch, she leaps up as Alton also leaps up. You can see that she like pivots her shoulder to like block him and like hits him with her shoulder and sort of grips onto the bonsai tree and sinks down to the ground, gripping it in her hands. And Alton, he like, oh, ow, oh, as he falls into the snow.
Oh.
Alec immediately stops raging and first looks to him and says, "I'm sorry. Are you okay?" And Alton kind of rubs his shoulder. "Yeah, I'm fine. I just I was trying to get it too." "Are you trying to court someone?" "Yes." "I understand." And she's gonna rip the bonsai tree in half. "Here you go."
Oh.
So sweet.
"Thank you."
Fucking
Alton's gonna stand up and he's gonna look to Carasilla with the torn in half bonsai tree. And you see Alec, who
Suni,
yeah. Go ahead.
can Suni like, I don't know, lay on hands, but for the trees and bring them back to like,
yeah,
not at least it like, even if not like full trees, not like ripped down the middle, exposed interior.
Yeah, no, for sure. You definitely can. You sort of heal that and sort of regrow it as the branches begin to sprout a bit.
Cecily would look to the whole congregation and say, "I didn't know that was a rule, I would like to bestow half of my tree to Thrud. Is that allowed now? Is it too late? I've never been to one of these. All
There
right.
are no rules at a this wedding.
Anything goes at a dragonborn wedding.
I thought weddings had rules. I don't know. I was just figuring I'd ask. I don't know how she's breaking it in half. That's a very interesting question. I think she'll try to, and Thrud will just be watching her.
Okay.
I think yours are flowers.
Okay. I thought they were both trees. Well,
I mean, they can be both trees.
I was just trying to make it easier for Cecily to give half. So-
you don't gotta make it easy on her. It's funny.
Well, I mean, but trees are a really cute idea, just because, like, I mean, that way y'all could like plant them and like, they keep them instead of having like flowers that
Die.
Oh.
It's a tree.
Sorry.
Well, she has no idea how to break it in half, and she's gonna try magically. And probably fail.
Yeah, Cecily, you do. There's no roll. It's you try.
Okay.
Thrud comes over to you and
Minus
she
one
kind of
strength.
she taps your hands and says, "It's okay. You don't need to rip a tree in half."
Well, no, but like symbolically, I do. I need to give you half of the tree.
Okay, here. And she kind of grabs your hands and says, "Pull with me."
Right. All right. We got this together. 50-50.
Suni, you go over, also administer immediate care to that tree as well.
God, we're so
Living things,
strong.
please remember.
So,
All
Alton.
borax on your ass.
Well, so I just want to remind everybody real quick. Alec is 21. I know that she doesn't seem that way, but she is. She was 19 when Afera started, and she's 21 now. So Alec is very young. You know who else is in her 20s, her early 20s, like 19, 20, 21?
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, wait.
Alec moves over to Thrud.
It'd be funny if Fred wasn't going to go the other way.
You can see Thrud turns to Alec, and Alec says, "You have been to my home a few times, and we have sparred, and I am very impressed with your strength and your ability to commune with nature and the elements. I know there is not much time left in this world. But if you were by my side, I would feel stronger to face it." You can see Thrud says, "Well, that was more poetic than what I was going to say, but yeah, I think I'd like that." And you can see they kind of put the two tree halves together.
Oh.
This tree will
See,
be a
I told you.
strong symbol of us. We will plant it, and we will take care of it.
That's cute.
I told you I had to rip it in half.
And you can see the two of them. They have a small moment over there together. Two angry redheads.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Much friend heaven.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, it would just work. It just works out. Alton will move over to you, Carasilla, and say, I know you don't have another tree half, but I had read and seen from Keothi that some of the Goliaths, they could sing to stone, to meld it, to change it. I don't know of any Goliaths that can sing to wood and trees to change it, but if there's anybody that can make a tree grow with their song, it would be you. So, if you'd be willing to help me grow this tree, I would
I would cherish it.
Well, I mean, I can't promise I can do it with song. It's a bit of a different thing than I'm capable of. But I'd certainly go out with you. Into a good little kiss.
A little heart.
Love and even more love is had on this night, as Sultana will come up to you, Suni, gripping you tightly as you look over the cliffside where you had tossed the rings down, where now there is this cascade, this waterfall of flowers that blows softly in the winds. And she says, I know this might be our last life together. And for all the conflict and pain we've had, I am so thankful that I got to live so many lifetimes with you, even through all the pain.
Sorry that I'm not lucky enough to remember it all. And I'm sorry that you have to remember all of it.
The past doesn't matter, Suni. What matters is right here, right now. And she kind of turns to look out, and she'll rest her head on your shoulder.
And Suni will be the tree.
Yeah, Suni,
If it
you are the tree.
If it does not take too many more of our precious minutes, Cecily would like to approach Poe with her tree half.
Mm-hmm.
And she is going to say, I got a perfect spot for this. It's up in Fjorleth. Okay, my dad and I have been making this huge thing, okay? And I was gonna, like, keep it a surprise, but now I'm talking about it, I guess. Okay, we've made this, like, winding garden path thing up there, and we can put this, like, right in the center, okay? And then we can go there, and we can wander around, and it can be, like, our tree thing. I don't know, that's just my idea. Do you have any other ideas? I don't know what you're supposed to do with this.
No, I think that's a great idea. I didn't have one, and well, after everything's said and done, I don't think we're gonna want to live in Waterswake, and that's the only home I've known. So, I think Fjordalis sounds nice. And
Yeah.
if I'm there with you, then I guess that's all that matters.
Yeah, so, look, about the marriage thing.
Listen, I think we're both so young, right?
Oh, thank fuck. See, that's, I was gonna, okay,
no,
yeah.
yeah. I listen, don't get me wrong. I really don't think that, this is something I'd ever want to change, because I really,
Right.
I do really
exactly.
like you.
But we don't even need, like, why get the government involved? Why get the government involved?
Exactly.
You know,
And to make it such a big thing, I'd be more comfortable
and then
if it
like
was,
relatives and yeah.
As the camera slowly pans away.
Last thing she'll say is really quietly and sheepishly, like, okay, but like after the war?
Yeah, after the war, I think it's definitely an easier conversation to have. Yeah.
Yeah, because like then it's
So.
So much love. So good for me.
Eventually, all of you descend down the cliffs of the Kalukatho graves, and return to your duties. The final bits and pieces of things that you have to achieve. Ajax, you continue on the 12th of May, 12th of Greengrass. You continue to work with the Centurions, with the forces of Farah, of the Salamander coast, of Thoral, organizing them, readying them for battle. preparing them to fight against Ban Sheen, against any Shadow Spawn, or against Dark Friends in general, or God forbid they encounter any one of the Forsaken. What they can do in situations based off the intel that you have to best defend themselves. In June, as summer starts to heat up, Cecily, you continue back in Jormungandr, working in various rituals, meeting various people, now in the northern half, in the Fractured Peninsula, working with the various factions and clans that exist there, fractured, and try and help unite them, try and help make the Council of Yggdrasil and the Fractured Peninsula work together to unify once more. And by the end of it all, you and Tyr go on this massive peacekeeping mission that ends with a unified Jormungandr, where a council of individuals connected to Ragnthar, as well as Odin and Tyr, they will work together with the Goliaths to try and keep Jormungandr as safe as possible together, not separated. After this, there's a celebration that is had in Fjardeleth celebrating the peace talks, but you've earned a vacation after that, as you and Poe go on a second date back in Thirol, in that lovely cafe that you had gone to before. Moving on from there, Suni, you train a bit more with the Order of the All-Seeing, spending time there speaking with various leaders and masters of that craft to be able to make sure that your powers, your abilities are as sharp as they possibly can be, channeling the divine energy of your oath into those moon blades to make sure they are effective and as lethal as possible. Bianca, it's around this time that you travel to Talamir, actually, and you have a bit of a catch-up with Nalfian and Twig as you bridge the diplomatic
Family
gap between there, and have your little family reunion.
Yeah.
And that happens in August. In September, Suni, you receive word from Lady Twig Forrester in the land of Talamir in Iverion, as there is an individual who emerged from a gate to the Feywild that was told that you would find her. So, Suni, you make your way down south to the Fey Rift. And there you can see three individuals, I suppose. You can see Lady Twig Forrester standing near the rift. You can see Sir Nalfian Forrester, Knight Commander of her guard, and sitting near a tree, staring at this carved statue, sort of burrowed into the tree, this tortoise, made of wood, but seems to have so much life around it, so many flowers sprout from it. But Suni, you see a small girl, maybe 7, 8, maybe 10 years old. She is very obviously an Earth Genasi, and in place of hair, she has these long, thick strands of vines with leaves sprouting off of them. As you see the girl that Twig told you about, Willow, the supposed daughter of Elowen. So, Twig, switch it up on you here. Is there anything you wanted to share with Suni before letting him talk to Willow, or did you want to let him talk to Willow and then the two of you can discuss?
I think just real quick, when she sees him approaching, she'll get to him first and just say,
She might also expect you to be a dragon, which, I mean, I told her wasn't quite right, but, well, just so you know.
Oh, I'm quite the fierce dragon.
Right, but
Thank you.
Dragonborn and dragons are different, so I didn't want her to be too confused.
Rather a marvelous thing.
Cameron, could you please repeat that? It came out a little.
You're a little robotic dude.
Back again, as I said.
Oh, wait a second.
Do I still sound bad?
Nope, you're good now.
Okay. He said that he thanked Twig for getting in contact and remarked that it's quite a remarkable thing.
She'll also probably let Suni talk to Willow alone, just knowing that obviously Suni and Ellen had a very, like, I guess, intertwined connection with all the lifetimes shit, so she'll let them.
And Suni would also say, Twig before parting ways, just the work that done. And
Yeah, mate, you're gone.
Damn, he's gone too.
R.I.P.
Damn. Well.
Guess we'll never know what to talk about. Anyways.
Twig, as you and Nalphine begin to walk away, Nalphine like leans down to you and it's like, listen, I don't know much about the guy, but does he freeze like that all the time? It's good to meet you, Nalphine Forrester.
what about now?
Oh, there you go. Hey, there you go.
Oh God! Oh, that was horrible. I don't remember. Oh, I was just saying that Suni would like give a very, very deep thanks to Twig on behalf of like the natural world and Elwyn for just upkeeping things and the reverence that she has had and been able to keep in her journeys, and that it means a lot to him.
I mean, I feel like she'd kind of echo similar things, you know?
Yeah, and he would also, I mean, I guess he could say this later when they part, but that he would just be looking forward to, once all of this is over, maybe being able to continue like a nice little partnership, just because allies for the natural world are always nice.
Eco pals.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, Twig, you and Nalphine, you depart to leave Suni and Willow alone to talk. So, as you're walking away, Nalphine will lean over. Glad he finally came back to life. I was getting a little worried.
Suni will whip his head around to look at Nalphine and then pick his eyeball and then turn back to approach Willow.
Yeah, Willow. So you approach Willow, and you can see the young Earth Genasi girl. She just kind of looks at the turtle, and you can see she kind of moves her hands near the flowers, and they like move with her, and you can hear them like the flowers like echo as she moves her hand near them, and there are like these notes almost of music. Like each flower has a different resonance to it, a different song that it sings, and when she moves near it, she amplifies that song and makes it audible. You can hear the high-pitched lilies, the low thrums of magnolias, all of these different flowers and the different songs they sing that no one else can hear but her. And she moves her hand, and she looks up to you and says, "You're not a dragon.
Yes, I am.
You're a dragon man, not a dragon."
I am more dragon than any dragon man you will ever meet.
She looks
I may not look it, but I have the spirit of one. And if you stick around long enough, you might see me become one too.
Very well. And she goes back to the flowers.
Do I disappoint you?
No.
Good. He'll like kneel down. You're quite good at that. That's a really cool trick.
Thank you. It's something I learned in there. And she looks towards the Feywild.
I'm glad to see you on this side of things.
It does make me sad. There's not much of a choice anymore.
Well, if we have our way, the choice will be all yours again. But I hope you get to enjoy what we have here. Now, the flowers and the trees and the grasses and the everything may be fewer and further in between here than what you're used to. That just makes it all the more special. A single flower in the middle of a field is worth dozens of them anywhere else. And he will do like a very stereotypical, like the magic of like pulling like the coin out from behind their ear, but he will druid craft a little flower to hand to her. Do you have any questions for me, Willow?
Did you know my mother?
I did. She was very special. And from what I heard, you're very special too, and I just have a very strong feeling every single thing good in her is in you, and times stronger. That's how these things tend to work.
So then it's time to leave.
If you're ready. And I want you to know that there's no pressure from any direction in any of this. I want to support you. And if the support you need from me is space, you just have to let me know. But you're going to do special things no matter what you choose to do. I look forward to seeing that.
I had space for a long time in the Feywild. And the first time I even felt close to being part of something was when Twig, she spoke with me. And I feel like I'm a part of something now, so wherever you
Suni
go,
will...
I'll go with
Oh,
you.
sorry, go. It's very sweet. And he'll gesture to forest around him and the whole world and says, you're part of something huge and beautiful and magnificent and chaotic, but it really is beautiful. And there's beauty in the chaos. And I hope you never forget that.
And
And she looks at you for a very, very, very long time. And she stands up and looks to you and sort of gestures her finger for you to come down to her level.
Well.
And she'll go to do that same thing that you did to her, where you kind of went behind her ear. But as she like wraps around like where your ear hole is as a lizard person, as a dragonborn, you can see as she taps your head, this crown of flowers sprouts and crawls down the side of your face, creating this like beard of daffodils that dangles off your face. And she kind of looks at the daffodils.
Show off.
She looks back to you, and she like moves her hand over them, and you can see they constantly shift and change in color. It's chaotic. It's good, right?
It's beautiful, and it's perfect.
And Suni, it's undeniable. You can feel a connection there. Some part of Elowen truly was left behind to her. And you feel that bond 10 times over. So, you and Willow depart. You say your goodbyes to to Twig and to Nalfian. And this time, Twig comes escorted by 2 knights, not just Nalfian, but another individual, short and stout of frame, humanoid. He's bipedal, but he's like I said, quite short, maybe only 3.5 feet tall. His face and body are that of a raccoon standing on 2 legs, but he wears finely crafted armor with a rapier at his belt. As he says to you, he looks you up and down and says, "So this is the guy who's taken Willow. Willow, are you okay with this? Do you need help? Do you know him? Does she know you?"
Danny, I think it's okay.
I think Suni, seeing this, his jaw would just drop, and he would look and be like, "Oh my god, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen."
All right, I guess you're okay.
And can I? Where can I find one?
Hey, find one? I'm one of a kind, all right? Only one in existence, as far as I know.
Raven Rock. Noted. Thank you.
Well, don't sell out my family. Oh my god.
We're all family here.
I thought you didn't like your family.
Well, I don't, but that doesn't mean I want some dragon guy to go there and scoop him up like he's trying to collect a petting zoo.
Come on.
Listen, it has taken a lot of work for me to get where I am. I had to wear a collar that could let me talk. I think that's what happened. Yeah,
what?
But no, wait, maybe that's that is, because then the Delilah's guy, the dude with the mustache, he did something to me that let me walk and talk like normal, so I didn't need it anymore. So you're gonna have to find the mustache guy with the wand, and then he can. But don't do that. At least, okay, listen. If you're gonna do it to Donnie, not Philly. Philly is crazy. He'll stab you in the back for a rotten banana. Okay. Don't trust him. All right, you got it? Which brother was it, huh? Tell me.
Me.
Which brother was it? Huh?
Donnie.
It was Philly.
Philly.
Don't go to Raven Rock, okay? They will eat you alive there.
In the back of my head. I can see any backstab coming.
You can tempt them with sandwiches.
Sandwiches. Okay, and this is this what's
My
happening with other
lady.
animals too? A whole little party of little
Private information I entrusted with you. I'm going back to the keep. He turns around.
And he will one more time just point in like with his like the gif of Michael Scott where he's just like smiling and like I'm just trying to I don't know remember what part of that is, but like it's like this huge stupid grin being like, "That's the coolest thing I've ever seen." Awesome. I will talk to you again about this, Twig, because this is coolest thing I've ever seen.
Right. Well, I'm glad that Sir Daniel gave you such joy then.
Sir Daniel, oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I'm knighted. Yeah.
Well, it is an honor to meet you, Sir Daniel, and to have a more formal conversation with you, Lady Twig. Is Nalthian still around, you said?
Yeah, he is. He's like looking just so annoyed at Danny right now, where he, as he's been saying this stuff, he's sort of wrapped around, and you can see that his like hand is just like ready to like pinch Danny's ear. Just ready. He's ready for Danny just to say one more thing, and he's just gonna.
I will say that he doesn't say anything, but he's gonna eye Nalthian up and down, and just to himself, he's gonna think, "Yeah, I could take him in a fight."
You can see Nalthian.
That's it.
He looks you up and down, and he has the same thought.
Perfect.
Too funny. So, Suni, as you move away with Willow to head back to wherever you're gonna go, Twig, you, Nalthian, and Danny begin to move back towards the keep, and Danny goes, "So that's one of the guys responsible for saving the world, huh?"
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to say the Salamander Coast is doomed.
Well, hopefully Noah's doomed.
Oh, yeah, of course. Whew. All right. So Danny is thoroughly reamed when they return to the keep, as Nalthian makes him do drill after drill for being so dishonorable in his discussions with Suni. Suni, however, you and Willow return to the Salamander Coast. And where are you and Willow going, or where do you want Willow to reside?
I think she is another like priority one, needs to be kept safe. But I also would hope that like I would be able to take time, because obviously she has a lot of talent, even as just a small being. And I don't know. I think I'd like to take her to like check out some of like nice the really like important spiritual places. Like I could take her to like the Kalakatha ruins and stuff like that. But I feel like, where did you say there was one of the safe havens that
was the one in
what were the
Loshar?
three? Yeah, Loshar I think would be the one that she should say.
Okay.
And then I would still try to keep constant communication with people just to make sure
Mhm.
that she's doing okay.
No, yeah, of course. Okay, sounds good. Good to know. Staying in Loshar, and you can take her other places, but when downtime ends, she's going to Loshar where she can be safe, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to introduce her to like the party and everything. Not like too high pressure or anything, just because obviously she's a little girl still.
Yeah. No, of course. Okay. So, with that, Suni, take Willow around to various places. You take her to the Hearthstone, to the Kalakatha ruins. You take her to all these spiritual places so she can see so much of what the material plane has to offer. Then, from there, we are going to go ahead and move on to Bianca, as your journey, your hunt, as we get to November. So this is towards the end of the year. You arrive in Brahmsgrove, as you know that your hunt has led you here. And you are very confident that Isin is somewhere in the city, but the city is, a metropolis. It is so hard to navigate and to find things. You reach out to Carasilla and Morwen and the Children of the Flame for help. You spend so much time searching. You know Isin is here somewhere. You use all of your tools, all of everything you have at your disposal. But sadly, as it's time to return to Damaris Keep to prepare for what may happen when that vault opens and the damage control that will need to be done before all of you can approach it, you are unable to make any decisive action, as Issen eludes you. Their days are numbered, for sure. Sadly, you leave Bromsgrove behind, unable to find Issen. So you know that Issen is somewhere in Bromsgrove, and that's information that you've gained that will come in handy in the future, should you choose to use it. So, information is gathered, allies strengthened, cities prepared. The last thing we move on to now is Carasilla. In the month of December, within Damaris City, towards the beginning of the month, you have a breakthrough. As you enter the dream world, taking in everything you've learned so far, you embrace that knowledge. And you look to connect with your soul, not just the small part of it that exists as in the vessel of your body, but the core of it that exists at the heart of souls, the heart, the beating heart of the soul of the world of Illica. The thread that connects it. That is the secret that you find. In order to truly enter this place and learn what you need to learn, you have to look inward, connected to yourself, connected to the spirit of the world. And that, Carasilla, is what you do. You enter past the dream world, past the realm of spirits, and eventually into the beating heart of Illica, the heart of souls. This thrumming, ethereal land of clashing colors and threads, spirits and souls swirling like a vortex in on themselves, and this beating heart of bright purple and white swirling. The heart itself. But Carasilla, you hear these familiar echoes, songs you've sung, stories you've told. They're woven into the very fabric of this dream. You can see this cosmic landscape in front of you, and you can see these echoes through, like how when you see reflections of light, or like rainbows peering through clouds of mist, you see that light shining through these clouds of cosmic energy. You see multiple realms with slashes through them, darkness. But as you move closer, you hear voices. You hear your own voice many times over, coming from so many different directions. You begin to focus in on one of the voices in particular, and you recognize it from when you time traveled, way back when you experienced these flickers, different lives you could have lived as a gleeman, as a captain of the Children of the Flame, as a zealot, as a barbarian, as a queen, as a ruler, as a tyrant, as a farmer. You see one of those echoes, one of those different lives. You see it singing a different melody, telling a different story. But most importantly, you see it weaving these threads of light from the song that it sings. It funnels into that heart. As you move past each one of these cosmic kaleidoscopes of energy and life, each one showing a different life you lived, a different circumstance, a journey you've walked through countless lifetimes, weaving threads that all lead here. As you move closer, these cosmic visions, they begin to grow more ancient, more crude. Cosmic energy is what creates these visions. They're no longer individuals of flesh and blood, but collections of starlight that sing songs, threads of spirits and dreams and souls that weave and weave and weave. You can see each one wearing different clothes, embodying different aspects of your spirit, Carasilla. All of them connected, weaving threads of light between all of these realms. You feel this incredibly deep connection to all of them, extensions of yourself working tirelessly to keep these realms connected. You can feel them straining, forcing themselves to keep the threads together. And Carasilla, you can see that in each one of these reflections, each one of these dreamlike auras, in every lifetime, each one of you, regardless of their status, regardless of their job, has told stories, has sung songs, and have battled against the tide of shadow, building this larger purpose. And you realize, Carasilla, that these weavers, this cosmic entity that spins fate and writes the stories in the stars, are extensions of you, working to keep balance. You can see each one of those reflections, each one of your past selves struggling, shadow encroaching on it. You can see some of them brandish daggers. Upon seeing you, they turn to you and they acknowledge you. These echoes, they look to you and they acknowledge you. The weavers, as they look down to you, they speak in unison, Carasilla. We have woven for ages, trying to keep the light connected. But that dagger, Kairathis, it separates us. You, the last of us, must finish what we started. Merge the realms and let our light, our song, our story spread evenly. Only then can we be at peace, the souls of our realms, and can the shadow be banished. And Carasilla, as you look up to them, your mind racing with questions or ideas or a desire to know more, there's this thrumming, this shaking. You can feel something begin to break.
as we move back to Damaris City and Damaris Keep. Now, Carasilla, you are awoken as your companions. All of you. You can feel something shifting and changing. Carasilla, as you come out of that dreamlike state, I mean, it is whiplash. You being so close to the heart, the soul of everything, and now being back into the material plane. They gather you, and all of you end up moving into one of the balconies of the keep that overlooks the sky and the city. And you can see the sky is still frozen, the crack is still frozen, and those vortexes are still frozen. But you look up, you can feel something's coming. You don't know when, but it is. Carasilla, as you're sort of reeling in that moment, no one knows what's going on. There's a moment here. What do you want to do? Do you want to say anything to your companions in this moment where all of you are waiting?
I mean, just real quick carving. The breaking sensation, was it also within the heart as well, or was it just like that external thing of like where we are now? I guess like the world, you know.
It seems like it was mostly in the material plane. It was like it was reaching, because you are on the material plane, it was reaching through though to where you were. So you're not super sure if there was anything going wrong in the Heart of Souls, but it seems like most apparently it's in the material plane.
I mean, I guess she'll just quickly say to everyone, I might have found something, and worry whatever this is, it's also going to be the thing that breaks open the seal. We're probably going to need to move fast.
What do you need us to do?
That's a great question. But we need to get to that Heart of Souls back in Atarashi.
All right, let's go then.
So
I've been getting ready for 2 years. Don't worry about it.
Before you all can leave, there is a stillness that falls over the world. An unnatural calm. There was this roiling thunder that has stopped. It is the stillness that presses against your skin like the weight of a storm waiting to break. Above you, you can see the sky still scarred, the massive crack that's loomed over everything for so long, frozen in place like a wound refusing to heal. The vortexes that once swirled with relentless fury receded. Mere dark spots against the sky, no longer spinning, no longer moving. But you can feel it. The tension, the waiting. Something is about to happen, and after a few moments, it begins. The crack in the sky, that jagged tear in the fabric of reality starts to shrink, slowly at first, then faster, collapsing in on itself like the heart of a dying star. The air grows heavy, thick with the weight of an inevitability. You can feel it deep within you, a pull in your chest, like something fundamental inside of you is being torn apart. The crack becomes smaller and smaller until there is no more than a pinprick of light. And then it's gone. For a moment, there is nothing. Silence. Stillness. And then the sky detonates. A massive wave of darkness bursts outward, a cataclysmic explosion of shadow and despair. The very air seems to scream a sound like the universe itself crying out in agony. The sky fractures and you can see it. The veil between this world and the darkness that exists beyond existence has been torn away. Blackness floods in, an abyss that devours everything it touches. Vortexes above swell, doubling, tripling in size, their tendrils of shadow reaching down towards the earth with terrifying speed. The world begins to unravel before your very eyes. Mountains crumble and twist, their peaks turn to threads that are sucked into the gaping maw of darkness. Forests are erased in an instant, oceans boil away into nothingness. Everything you have ever known, every place you have ever seen is being consumed. The ground beneath your feet shudders, as if the very earth is recoiling in fear. You can feel it. The end of all things. The world is breaking, and with it, a part of you is breaking too. The terror of it grips you. A cold dread settles in your bones. This is the final collapse. The moment you feared but never truly believed would come. The end is near, and it's up to you to do what you can in these final moments. Damage control. Save as many as you can before heading to the Heart of Souls, and hoping the Forerunners can carry out their business in the threads of time as well. The fate of everything rests on your shoulders. And in this moment of indecision, knowing you need to go somewhere, somebody needs your help, 2 messages are received. Cecily, you receive word from Hiroshi Takanada, the martial man who had assisted you and was imprisoned with you in Shiroi. He sends you a message and says, Cecily, I know there is much that you and your companions need to do, but Namiora is under attack. The city is being set upon by a massive, tentacled creature pulling in and tearing the city down into the water. Shadows flood. The city drowns. We need help. Bianca, you receive a message from Gren Spook.
My queen, I know that there is much. There are many in this world that need your help, but
Summer's Rest, the beasts from the mines, they flood up. Many have died already. We need help if you can spare it. If not, we will do what we can. But if you can, please save us. And as 2 people call out for help, only one can be saved. And that is the decision you all have to make. And with that, that's where we're going to go ahead and end tonight's session. And I want to elaborate here a little bit on this so you guys can have a very clear understanding about what is going to be expected of you over the next 5 sessions. And that way you can, prep and discuss things appropriately. Now, Gemma and Felicity already heard this, so I apologize for you having to hear it a second time, but just be with me here. So there are going to be 5 encounters. Let me just double check that's right here. Whoa, get out of here, Legend Keeper bot. 1, 2, 3,
4. So there are 4 encounters, and then there will be one 5th and final encounter at the Heart of Souls, and for Isles, it'll be at the Threads of Time. 5 encounters, okay? In each one of those scenarios, you're going to have to choose between one of 2 places to save. The other place will be destroyed. There is no saving it, all right? So if you choose to go to Summer's Rest, Namayora is destroyed, Hiroshi Takanada and whatever other NPCs are within Namayora will die. Some of those NPCs, you might not know that they're there. They went there to go help, and they died. They're not the heroes of the story. You guys are. The only exception to this rule is in one instance, you can send the Silent Shields to one of those 2 places. You only get one use of the Silent Shields. You can send them, and that will give the place a 50% chance to succeed. So I will roll a D100. If it's a 49 or lower, the place dies, and so do the Silent Shields that were sent. If it's a 50 or higher, then the place is saved, and the Silent Shields succeed. The caveat to that is if there is a Forsaken present, which you guys will not know about until you go, that lowers the Silent Shield's chance of success to 30% as opposed to 50. So it's a dice roll. I mean, it is a very significant dice roll. It's the end of the world. The only people that can stop it are you guys. There are safe places, which I stated. The hideout in Loshar that belongs to Laufey, Damaris Keep, Damaris City, Fjardaleth. Those places are safe. Everywhere else is fair game. The only encounters you guys are going to know is the ones that happen at the end of each session. Okay, at the end of every session, 2 more people will reach out to you, and you'll have to make that decision. You'll have a week to talk about it. So there's that. That's how the mechanics work. The other part of this is all of you are only going to get 1 long rest for the 5 encounters. 1 long rest. You can take a short rest after every single encounter, and it's a heroic long rest. You rest for an hour because the end of the world takes place over the course of about 8 hours. So 1 long rest, you can do that after any encounter you want, and then you can take a short rest after each one of the other ones. I know it seems like a lot, because it is. The end. There are 6 sessions left of the campaign. These 4, the final combat, and then the epilogue. There are a few things that are going to help you out here. For one, the College of Hearthcrest, same as they did for Isles, is going to provide each one of you guys with a scroll of Death Ward that you can cast yourself or have somebody cast on you before you dive in. So each one of you have Death Ward as you go into this. You get 1 long rest, as many short rests as you want. And I would like to also welcome all of you, not to level 16, but to level 17. 2 levels up for 2 years. Okay? So, level 17, 1 long rest. You'll be able to save 6 places at the most of the 10, or you'll be able to save 5 places of the 8 that are presented. So that's still pretty good odds, but it's the end of the world. You can't save everybody. So, I think the only other thing I need to say is that if you end up going to a place and the other place has a Forsaken, that Forsaken doesn't go away. They're going to come up again later, right? At the next encounter, there might be 2 Forsaken at the same location, or 3 at the 3rd one. Okay? So it's just, there's a lot of variables here, but I have faith in you guys. You're level 17. You're big, strong peeps. I think the last thing is, this is relevant for you specifically, Mark. Cecily's armor is now exalted. After, I forgot to say that just because there was so much stuff going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. And I've added all that to the character sheet now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just read up on it later then.
Yep. But other than that, I believe everybody should have everything they need. Make sure you get those magic items from Traven's stash. Those are both magic items already in D&D Beyond, so you should be able to add those no problem. But that's everything I have. I know it's a lot. I will type it out for all of you guys too, just that way you have it, and that way I can also send it to Isles too. This is it. This is the end of it. Okay, so be prepared. I appreciate your patience already. And with that, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you maybe tomorrow. Don't know yet, but definitely Saturday for the Isles of Avarion, as the Isles crew goes into their first session of the end of the world. So be sure to tune in for that, or Salamander Coast next Tuesday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.